theory of the business cycle is what I really focused on because I think that's the most important thing that he's given us at this time.
I couldn't trudge through Human Action. I did my best, and I just didn't go anywhere with it. So I look forward to picking up Choice, so that maybe it's the Cliff Notes version. Can you explain? Because I mean, the business cycle is the very important aspect of Austrian economics. It's really what it brings to the table. It shows that we don't have to have this boom-bust cycle that has existed up to this point. So can you explain that?
Sure. So in the Austrian view, and for people who don't know, that Austrian term, just that's the label for the school of thought. The people who founded it happened to be from Austria originally, and the label stuck. So the theory that Mises developed, Friedrich Hayek won the Nobel Prize in '74 largely for his work on this theory, is they said that the boom-bust cycle that we're all familiar with, it seems to plague market economies periodically, that's not just some natural outgrowth of capitalism. You just throw your hands up and say, well, there's tornadoes and there's the business cycle.
Right.
Nothing you can do about it. Mises said that it's because in the boom period, the government and central banks are working together to push down interest rates artificially low. And that sort of gooses investment, makes people feel wealthier than they really are. And it gives this false period of prosperity that may last a few years, but that boom is built on quicksand, and eventually it comes crashing down. So in the Austrian view, the way to fix the business cycle is not to always rush it during the recession and try to do things to get people back to work and get businesses spending again. No, it's to, during the boom period, stop providing that artificial stimulus that causes people to make unsustainable investments. And that's the only way you're going to have sustainable economic growth in the long run.
So isn't that exactly what the Keynesians say? Maynard Keynes, you'll tell me in a second. He is he's got his own school of thought out there, and people that want to pump up the marketplace with a bunch of free money. They're called Keynesians. Wasn't that what he said too? Is essentially you're supposed to pump the marketplace when the economy's down, but when it's doing well, you're supposed to back off, guys. And they don't back off. They don't know how. It's like giving a heroin addict a morphine drip and telling him, "Now be careful with this."
Right. Yeah. So that's a very sophisticated point you're bringing up. You're right. In theory, the textbook economics you study with what's called Keynesian economics, you're right. They have what's called counter-cyclical policy, meaning, yes, when the economy's down, that's when the government should stimulate, and then when it's in a boom period, that's when it should raise taxes and try to, put the brakes on. So the problem is, you're right that they don't often adhere to that. They're all for big government spending and deficits during the recession. But when times are good, they're not usually saying, oh, let's be running huge surpluses and pay down some of the debt. That often doesn't happen. But even on its own terms, I think that's terribly wrong, because what happens is when you're in the recession and they have those artificially low interest rates that then seem to jumpstart the economy and get us into the recovery, that's sowing the seeds for the next bust. So just to give you a specific example, when the dot-com bubble burst in the late 1990s or 2000 and so forth, then Alan Greenspan was the Fed chair. He cut interest rates way down. People were calling him the maestro. They were saying, wow, look at the housing market.
He's a genius.
Yeah, the housing market didn't go into decline during this bad recession. What a great guy. But of course, that just gave us the housing bubble. It replaced the stock bubble with a housing bubble. And so many people,
that's not Greenspan's fault. He left office before that happened.
Right. These guys often see it coming and then decide they're going to spend time with their families and write their memoirs and leave it for the next person.
I really got to spend more time with my kids. Your kids are 30. Now, the boom-bust cycle often is, to some extent, tied with fiat currency. You can't pump the marketplace full of money if the money is actually backed by something. And this is another thing that Austrian economics brings to the table, and that is that they propose to have a value-backed currency. Gold is often what's gone to, but Bitcoin could be it, or a variety of things, whatever it has to be. It's just basically not allowing human beings to pump in a value into the marketplace in the form of fiat currency. Now, we didn't go off the gold standard until 1913, but there were boom-bust cycles prior to that, right?
Right. So you bring up a lot of good points. So yes,
I am gonna milk this, Bob, because every time I get you at one of these events, you're like, oh, I got 10 minutes for you guys. No, I got you for the evening, and I want to know what's going on here.
Hey, the opportunity cost, time is valuable.
I know. Well, everybody wants you to run the karaoke at these events. You're very entertaining on stage, and I think it's awesome. But I never get a chance to get these questions that I have answered.
Okay, sir. So yes, that was a very well-informed question, and so you're right. I'm sure your guys, your listeners are very well-informed on these matters of monetary policy and theory. So everybody understands the benefit to the government of being able to use fiat currency. It's funny. I was showing my son some silver rounds I had just bought the other day, and was explaining to him that the government wouldn't want to keep using that because it's hard. They can't just create silver coins out of thin air the way they can electronically create money. So clearly the people in power would prefer to have a monetary system with no constraints, because then they can just inject money at will. But beyond that, and that's what everybody understands, and people, understand full well the danger of runaway inflation as the purchasing power disappears. People who are saving up, they have money in a denominated a certain asset, and it can disappear overnight. Everyone understands that. The connection with the Austrian theory is, as you were saying, it's that the business cycle itself is because typically that new money gets pumped into the credit markets. In other words, it's not that they just create $100 bills and drop them out of the helicopter.
No, it'd be great if they give it to us.
Right. And it enters through the credit markets. So it distorts interest rates and causes investments to get all screwed up. So that's the connection. But your other point was, we were on the gold standard. Actually, FDR didn't really fully kick us off until the early 30s there. So the Great Depression started, at least, when the U.S., according to standard history books, was still conventionally on the gold standard. And so the answer is, and Mises developed his theory of the business cycle, really what causes the business cycle is an artificial injection of credit that pushes interest rates low. So commercial banks, even on a gold standard, can do that if they engage in what's called fractional reserve banking.
And that was what was allowed in 1913? Did that begin there? I'm not entirely clear on this.
Yeah, I mean, throughout U.S. history, with a nod and a wink, that stuff was allowed, and they would even do things because the banks would get away with it. Because the ultimate check on... So for people who don't know,
Bob,
fractional
hold
reserve
that thought.
banking.
Yeah, I was just about to say what fractional reserve banking is, where the banks can lend out money they don't even have, something like 9 times the amount in deposits.
Robert P. Murphy has the answers as to why the economy is down.
And if you have questions, you can dial in toll-free, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
That's the sound your brain makes when you realize you're buying something and forgot the coupon. Online or in a store, knowing that you're missing a deal is the worst. You need the app from Retail Me Not right now. Get thousands of coupons from 50,000 stores like Kohl's, Domino's, Best Buy, and more with crazy deals like 60% off, free shipping, and free gifts with purchase. You can get a text invite to download the Retail Me Not app 100% free right now for Apple or Android. Just text the code UPDATE to 42767. Then just show your phone at checkout to save. It literally couldn't be easier. It's 2015. Keep your coupons in your phone. Stop what you're doing and text UPDATE to 42767. Listeners will get a text with a link to download it 100% free. Never forget another coupon again. Text the code UPDATE to 42767 right now. That's UPDATE to 42767. Message and data rates may apply. For terms and privacy, visit retailmenot.com.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
My name is Bill Bonner, and I'm the president of the largest private news and research network in the world. And I paid for this airtime because I have an important message to the American people. There's a change coming that the government isn't telling you about. This change has deep implications for life in America, from where you shop to the doctors you visit and the family you want to protect. Look, I've made predictions like this before. Thing is, I was right then too. A few years ago, I warned that housing prices would collapse. They did. Before that, I warned that .com companies would crash. They did. Those who listened had a chance to save themselves. But this has nothing to do with the stock market. This will affect us all.
You can watch the video for free right now by going to disappearingwealth.com. Again, that's disappearingwealth.com.
Hey, Berkey Guy here. Are you still drinking unfiltered tap water? Does your water contain chlorine or fluoride? Will you have drinkable water in an emergency? The Berkey Guy is here to help you remove these and other potential contaminants from your water, thus helping you drink clean, purified water. We offer Berkey water purification systems at the lowest available prices online. Don't go another moment without a Berkey system. Over the last 10 years, we've helped thousands drink clean, purified water. Join them by visiting goberkey.com or call me, the Berkey Guy, at 877-886-3653. That's 877-886-3653.
Now, more Free Talk Live. Call in toll-free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-FREE.
Yeah!
It's Free Talk Live, live Sunday edition of the program. Of course, you can call in about anything you want, but right now, calls for Bob Murphy get preference. He is the author of Choice, new book that I presume is available. I don't think we asked him that question. Bob Murphy is the book.
I've been peppering with so many questions we haven't had a chance.
Yeah, we've been talking about the economy and business cycle and things like that. Let's talk a little bit about the book here. Is it available right now for people to buy?
Oh, yeah, definitely. If you just go to Amazon's the easiest place. If you go to the Independent Institute's website, they have like a long synopsis of it, and you see the chapter-by-chapter breakdown. But, yeah, if you go to Amazon, it's up there.
Yeah, I don't understand why they haven't sent it to me. They send me books now and then. Why haven't I gotten Choice in the mail? So
it's probably my oversight, so they will.
And his website, by the way, Consulting by RPM, as in Robert P. Murphy.
I'm sure there's a link there,
Consulting by RPM.com. Well, what you can do is if you're going to buy the book, you should go to shop.freetalklive.com, go through our Amazon link there. Or, of course, you can go to saveitpurse.com and then get it at like 20% off.
Bob, I have heard the president controlling the economy is like the bull rider controlling the bull. The suggestion is that the economy, whoops, it goes up and whoops, it goes down, and there's just nothing we can do about it. But as I understand what the Austrian economics, basically started by Ludwig von Mises, what they brought to the table was a solution to the business cycle and the problems of the economy.
Right, and just to tie this in really quickly, the great question you asked before the break was, why did we have these business cycles even when we were on the gold standard? So it's not merely whether the money is backed up by anything, whether it's real, hard money. The specific thing that causes the business cycle is having credit flood the system, people getting loans when there's not genuine savings backing it up, and that's the linchpin that makes that possible is fractional reserve banking. But the connection with fiat money is that it's a lot easier to flood the market with fake money with fake money than it is with claims to hard money. And the way the government fosters that is by doing things like having banking holidays. right? And that's what a fun term. Oh, a bank holiday. Who wouldn't be for that? And that means
means you can't
if
get
there
your
was
money.
if there was a grocery store holiday, then you would understand. That means you can't get your food.
It's a downright bank party going on at Greece right now.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I know that Ludwig von Mises is important name in Austrian economics. Karl Menger is the sort of as I understand, the one that founded it, created the school of thought.
Right. So yeah, it was in 1871 that Karl Menger wrote the Principles of Economics. I mean, he wrote it in German, so it had a German title, and that was the book that Mises, as a young man, read and then said that book made me an economist. So the official founder of the Austrian school was Karl Menger, and Mises was considered I think third generation.
What could politicians do today to just to fix the economy? Is it easy or is it hard?
Well, I mean, it's easy conceptually. It's hard politically because there's so many rich and powerful people that would, benefit from the current system. So really what happens is it's that right in our day, central banks cause this boom bust cycle, but then the governments come in during the recession period and do all sorts of things that just make it drag on and make it just be agonizingly long, because that's kind of the interplay. So it's more the stuff that politicians tend to do just makes the recession much more painful and drag on. Ultimately, the way they could stop this business cycle is to take away the privileges that the Federal Reserve or the ECB, Bank of Japan, have, because they set up a cartel of banks and just let banking be a business in the free market system. And if you make too many loans and you lend out too many people too much money, and then it goes bust, or your customers show up and want their money and you can't give it to them, you go out of business.
And a value-backed currency is integral to that, right?
Right. So just there's all sorts of policies right now that the government has in place that push people into using fiat money. That by no means was something that people spontaneously and voluntarily chose. Historically, people used gold and silver as money. And then I think, with the electronic age, they would have gone to things like Bitcoin or whatever as offshoots as well. But certainly using the euro or the dollar or the yen right now is because governments have also tax policies in place, legal tender laws, things like that. If they took away all those special privileges, then people would just voluntarily and naturally move to hard money in a banking system that was much more resilient and much higher reserve ratios, which would all by itself, stop inflation and stop the business cycle.
Turns out the free market can solve some problems. When you had said that sometimes politicians tend to get involved in the economy when it's down, trying to revitalize the patient, I'm pretty sure you came dangerously close to blaspheming our Lord FDR. Are you saying that Franklin Delano Roosevelt extended the Great Depression with his interventions?
Well, sure. Let me flip it and put it to you this way. So if you were going to test the hypothesis, did the New Deal prolong the Depression or make it end shorter than otherwise would have had he done nothing? What sort of things would you look at?
I don't know, man.
What would the evidence have to look like to make you think he prolonged it? Well, one thing is you'd say, well, I mean, if that was the longest depression in U.S. history, that would be one. Oh, ding, ding, ding. Right. So, and also,
but it was really bad.
Yeah, and the other thing too, the 1-2 punch of that is to realize Herbert Hoover, to that point, had the most interventionist response to an economic downturn in U.S. history. So it's a complete myth for people to think Herbert Hoover did nothing, and that's why the Great Depression happened on his watch. That wouldn't really make sense, because prior presidents also, did nothing in quotation marks. So how come when they did nothing, when there was a banking panic, it didn't turn into a 10-year depression? And the answer is because they really did pretty much do nothing, and the thing fixed itself in 6 months. Where it was Hoover who said, oh, we're going to take the bull by the horns and fight this, and then caused unemployment to skyrocket. Then he handed it over to FDR, who just upped the ante on all the stuff Hoover had put in motion.
So, what is the choice? Is this a book? Is this a textbook for people in college, or is this something for the average person?
Well, it's both. Why choose, Mark? So it's it was, in all seriousness, it is designed so it doesn't feel like a textbook. It's not written like in textbook style. It's a book you can read in the English language, plain language, but it's for upper. For economics majors who want to know about Austrian economics, capital theory, business cycle theory, monetary theory. it is appropriate to be assigned in a class like that.
So I want to make sure that we also address, I mean, at this point, I think it's fair to say I'm not going to be able to get you to say it, but I think it's fair to say that you're the standard bearer of of Austrian economics at this point in the world. But they're probably the most famous economist is Milton Friedman. Now, he was known as a monetarist as opposed to an Austrian. Can you explain to me the difference between these two?
Okay, and you're right. I cannot allow you to say such an over-the-top compliment without me saying, of course I'm not being that arrogant. So I just want to officially say that.
But who is then?
I will not even say. Let's move on.
There you go. If you can't provide me with a name, then I'm going to go with the name I got.
All right. So, Bob, stand by. We'll let you answer Mark's question here in a moment. Bob Murphy is on the line with us here. His website, consultingbyRPM.com. Real brilliant economist. He's here with us. And if you've got a question, now would be a good time. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE.
He can answer all your economics questions.
855-450-3733, and he'll answer Mark's question coming up on Free Talk Live.
Owe $10,000 or more to the IRS?
Get on board with the Tax Admiral. Don't take on the IRS alone. I'll cut penalties and reduce your overall tax bill. Sometimes I can even get it zeroed out completely.
We're an A-rated company helping people clean up their mess with the IRS.
If you owe $10,000 or more, then call the Tax Admiral.
Call 800-287-7180. Again, that's 800-287-7180. 800-287-7180.
Silver has always been nature's very own antibiotic, and only one system allows you to produce an endless supply of nano-sized silver solutions right from the convenience of your home. Silver Lungs. With the addition of our unique lung delivery system, respiratory infections are targeted directly, where traditional oral administration simply cannot reach. This pioneering method also preserves the original particle sizes and delivers your silver solution directly into the bloodstream. See the Silver Lungs generator and lung delivery system at silverlungs.com. That's silverlungs.com.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-905-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. Say goodbye to the cable guy and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. Sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows, pause and rewind live TV, even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV. Say goodbye to the cable guy. Cut costs and get more. 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV.
Healthy, organic, fresh fish, robust, mouth-watering vegetables, all from your home. It's called aquaponics. This brilliant, self-sustaining protein and veggie system is perfect for year-round growing. Know exactly where your food is coming from. Aquaponicssource.com is the one-stop shop for all your needs. Fish, fish food, plumbing, full systems, classes, and more. Learn to build your own system. Go to aquaponicssource.com for a free guide to aquaponics. That's aquaponicssource.com.
We all know that Berkey water purification systems are the most trusted name in water filtration. As an authorized Berkey dealer for over 6 years and serving thousands of satisfied customers, the Berkey Guy offers amazing specials for Berkey water filtration systems. The Berkey Light systems include a set of self-sterilizing and recleanable black purification elements that purify water by removing chlorine, pathogenic bacteria, cysts, and parasites to non-detectable levels and remove harmful chemicals such as herbicides and pesticides. Order the Berkey Light system today, complete with 2 black Berkey elements for only $231, and the Berkey Guy will ship your order free of charge. With the purchase of a Berkey Light, the Berkey Guy is also offering a set of fluoride and arsenic filters for only $39.99. That's over 30% off the retail price. Call the Berkey Guy at 1-877-886-3653. That's 1-877-886-3653. Or order online at goberkey.com. That's goberkey.com today.
The human body is more than 60% water. Your brain and muscles are 75% water. And your blood is 92% water. Water's vital to your body, and alkalizing your water is the key to keep it running at its best. AlkaVision Plasma pH drops keep your entire body healthy, boosts energy, promotes weight loss, and even fights cancer. Call 800-518-7615 or go to alkavision.com to find out more. That's alkavision.com.
This is Free Talk Live. Call in toll free 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-FREE.
It is Free Talk Live, live Sunday edition, continuing here with our special guest, Bob Murphy, who wrote a book, Choice. It is available now. Although he says it's targeted at college students who want to learn about Austrian economics. And he's here taking questions on the air. We're going to go to your calls in just a moment. But he was talking about the hard money that's backed by something. Of course, I'm a big fan of Bitcoin, and you could argue that Bitcoin is actually backed by the Bitcoin network. It's not backed by a physical product, like gold or silver or whatever, but the network itself is kind of the inherent value behind Bitcoin. Bitcoin being a decentralized currency that was not issued by any government or bank, and it's amazing. I would recommend, if you want to learn more about Bitcoin, you can go to bitcoin.com. If you're already into the Bitcoin world and you want to meet some of the movers and the shakers, let's say you consider yourself an investor, you might want to go to the Bitcoin Investor Conference, the very first ever, happening at the beautiful D Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada. The D Hotel, by the way, accepts Bitcoin, so you'll be able to pay for your hotel room with Bitcoin there, which is pretty cool. It's an event you're not going to want to miss. There's going to be great Bitcoin movers and shakers there, like Paul Pui from the Airbits wallet, Trace Mayer, Stephanie Murphy, Bitcoin Bell. You might know her as Michelle Seven. She's a former co-host here on Free Talk Live.
And me.
Mark, you're going to be broadcasting live from the event. Stephen Michaels is putting it on, and it's a first one of its kind. It's the first one ever, and so this is a great opportunity to get in on the ground floor with some of the big names in Bitcoin. It's October 29th and 30th in Vegas at the D Hotel. October 29th and 30th. You can go now to get your early bird tickets at bitcoininvestor.com as we bring Bob Murphy back on here. Bob, there was a question that Mark asked you before we went to the break, and I want to get back to that, but let's get back to it after we get these folks on who have some questions for you. So, first up, let's bring Mac on the line in Washington. Mac, you're on with Bob Murphy.
Hey, isn't that fantastic? First economics book I ever read was by Bob Murphy.
Which one was that?
It was The Politically Incorrect Guide to Capitalism.
Yeah.
And I've read 3 other books of his. And Bob, I have a question for you, if you don't mind. Of all those books that I've read of yours, there was just a few pages of one of them that I didn't quite get what you were saying. I think Mark might have started going in that direction right before the break. You were criticizing Milton Friedman's. You spent a couple of pages criticizing Milton Friedman's interpretation of the cause of the Great Depression. I read that section twice. Man, I got to tell you, I still didn't get it. I'm just a dumb blue-collar guy. So if you could really, if you don't mind, gelling that down and boiling it down and explaining to us what it's all about.
Oh, okay, sure thing, and thank you for the kind words. So as Mark had alluded to, and the caller's reinforcing there, that yes, a huge name in free market economics is Milton Friedman. Of course, he's more famous, more of a household name among policy wonks than Ludwig von Mises. But Friedman was a member of what's called the Chicago School, and so they had a different approach. Specifically, when it comes to the Great Depression, the Milton Friedman thought the real issue there was that after the stock market crash and in the early 1930s, people were panicked, and so they were running to their banks and trying to get their money out. They didn't want it to be on deposit with the bank. They wanted to have the actual cash in their hands, and because of the fractional reserve system, this was leading all these banks to fail, thousands of bank failures, because the banks, from It's a Wonderful Life, that kind of scene was just really happening all over the country. And so the way the system works, when you think like, oh yeah, I have $1,000, like if you have 800 in the bank and 200 in your wallet, and you think you're walking around with $1,000, well, if the bank doesn't really have that, there's a sense in which if the bank fails, that money disappears, right? Even because it was kind of like just in your head. And so when that was happening on a grand scale in the early 1930s, there was a legitimate sense in which the money supply shrank by 1/3, like from 1929 to 1933, because of so many bank failures and people who thought they had a bunch of money in the bank in 1929. About a third of that total was gone by 33. So what Milton Friedman said is that the Fed, the Federal Reserve, should have come in and just pumped, flooded with more money to offset that, because he thought that's why you had this, this was the main cause. So in Friedman's view, the reason the Great Depression was so awful was that the Fed was too timid and wasn't willing to pump in enough money. Whereas the Austrian view, it's the exact opposite. The Austrians say the reason there was the 29 crash was because earlier during the 20s, the Fed had been pumping in too much money, building up this unsustainable boom. So they both blame the Fed, but it's like for the opposite reason. The Austrians blame the Fed for easy money in the 20s, causing the stock market to rise, which then came crashing down in the famous, black market crash of 29. Whereas Friedman says the Fed was too timid, wasn't willing to pump in enough money in the early 30s.
Yeah, you can liken this to what the Austrians are saying is that essentially when you pump in all this money, whether it's in the boom or the bust, it's like somebody getting drunk. They're responding to different stimuli. They don't see the world as it truly is. And what Austrians are saying is you just got to go cold turkey and face up to what your behavior was like for the last however long, and it'll be 18 months or whatever, and then the economy will right itself and everything will be back to things that are normal. Is that about right?
Right. Yeah, that's right. That it's in the Austrian view that the problem in 1933, let's say, was not, oh, gee, the Federal Reserve is so timid, why don't they just flood the market with more money? That wasn't the issue. The issue was, why did we have to respond to this huge false boom? It's because of what the Fed had done earlier. And then also, too, the reason that decline in the money supply, one of the things I did in my book, The Politically Incorrect Guide to the Great Depression, was to show that the Great Depression, the first few years, there was nothing historically unusual about prices falling like that. That had happened in earlier panics. It had happened in the Depression of 1920 and 21. But the reason that didn't lead to a decade-long slump was that the government let wages fall. But it was Herbert Hoover in the early 30s, while he was still in office, that tried to stop wages from falling, because he thought that would just lead the economy into a downward spiral, because now people don't have enough money, so how are they going to buy products? But that was the wrong thing to do. If prices are falling, you have to let labor get cheaper also. Otherwise, labor gets artificially expensive, and that's why unemployment shoots up. So it's, again, the kind of thing where the politicians in Washington just start tinkering and doing whack-a-mole and hitting things here and there, and it screws up the whole system.
Let's go to Larry. He's in South Carolina. Larry, listening to WTMA, you're on with Bob Murphy.
Good evening to all of you, and I am really delighted to have an opportunity to express this to an economist. This is sort of based on the idea of the consumption tax, as articulated by people like Neil Bortz and Mr. Is it Linder? In any case, I think Congressman Linder, former. Nevertheless, what they're talking about was a 17% tax on everything that's sold in America. And after I thought about it for a while, I thought it would be even more sensible to make it a 15% tax on all commodities sold in America, and that 5% of those taxes should remain in the city or state in which it was spent, and 5% should stay in the state, and 5% should go to the federal government, which would get them around $1 trillion in each section. And that, of course, I realize that they're spending $4 trillion and $2 trillion of which is borrowed, but that by establishing such a low rate of taxation, and that was the only tax, there would be no more taxes on industry. And I imagine industry flocking to America and happy to pay that low kind of a tax. And
what's the question for Bob Murphy?
I want him to, after listening to what I'm saying about this, tell me what does he think about this approach. I know this, and I'm sure he's aware of it too. That Adam
And is
Smith
consumption tax is like a sales tax? Is that what it is? Like a national sales tax?
Yes.
Stand by. Stand by. We'll ask Bob about that here in a moment. Bob, you can stick with us for one more segment, I take it?
Yep, sure thing.
All right, more with Bob Murphy here. His website, Consulting by RPM, as in Robert P. Murphy. This is Free Talk Live. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE.
If you could choose any school in the country to earn your college degree and be on your way to a better life, would you choose one the Wall Street Journal recognizes as producing some of the best qualified graduates? Or one the Princeton Review ranks as a leader in undergraduate education? Or maybe one the U.S. News & World Report names among the most innovative schools in the country? Now, you don't have to choose. At Arizona State University, we want to help you learn to thrive in life. At ASU Online, we offer over 100 graduate and undergraduate programs on your time and schedule. You receive the exact same curriculum, degree, and prestigious faculty as the on-campus students, and we're universally recognized as one of the innovators in online learning technologies. For information, call 1-800-595-9736. U.S. News & World Report ranked ASU in the top 10 best places to earn an online degree. So learn to thrive with ASU Online. Call today at 1-800-595-9736. That's 1-800-595-9736.
No way. Is that a real bullet necklace?
No, it's a 9mm bullet necklace with matching earrings, you'll notice.
Those are awesome. Where'd you get them?
Dave found them at PatriotNecklace.com.
Wow.
They have a variety of calibers and necklaces and earrings and keychains.
PatriotNecklace.com?
PatriotNecklace.com.
Your choice of caliber bullet includes a rugged American-made stainless steel dog tag chain. A percentage of every sale goes to military and service-related charities. And get a discount by entering GCN at checkout. Show your patriotism and support our troops with a bullet necklace from PatriotNecklace.com.
Okay, open your mouth and say ah.
Ah. When your child has a sore throat, you need to know when to get help. The doctor recommended Say Ah Sore Throat Exam is your solution. The scientifically designed oral retractor offers a clear view of the throat, relaxing the tongue and minimizing gag reflex. Compare with a medical grade chart, website, and app. Then you'll know just what to tell your doctor. A wellness plan in your hands in minutes. Go to SayAhHNow.com. SayAhNow.com, the new mainstay for every family's first aid kit.
I am a 47-year-old female and had a heart attack in 2005. This is Alice from New Jersey. I still get angina, even with 4 stents. I was taking nitro 2 or 3 times a week. The very first day after taking Heart and Body Extract, the chest pain was gone. Now I don't wear a nitro patch.
Learn the secrets of an effective, natural, 100% organic nutritional supplement for a healthy heart and circulation at hbextract.com.
Sciatica, lower back pain, hip pain, poor posture. If you suffer from any of these problems, get ready to relax. Introducing an amazing product that's been in the market for over 25 years, the Sacro Wedgie. It was invented by a football coach using a common-sense osteopath technique. He created this device to help his athletes by isolating and supporting the sacrum, which is the keystone of our anatomy. This wedge-shaped bone is in the center of our hips, where a lot of pain starts. Simply relax 20 minutes daily on the amazingly simple Sacro Wedgie and let gravity do the work, helping muscles rebalance and start releasing nerves. Sit in the Sacro Wedgie at the computer or while traveling to help correct posture to finally help relieve those stubborn aches and pains for only $33.95. It's made in the USA, so click the family-owned website at sacrowedgie.com, spelled SACROWEDGY.com, or call 1-800-737-9295. That's 1-800-737-9295. Relax your back pain away with the Sacro Wedgie.
Ready Supply Foods sells more food for your money than any other company, and we can prove it. We've gathered nutritional facts from our competitors' own websites and divided them by price to show you how much they sell per dollar. In an emergency, calories mean survival. Ready Supply Foods sells 245 calories per dollar, where the others average only 155. That's 58% more for your money. We're the new leader in value and quality. See the comparisons at ReadySupplyFoods.com today.
You're listening to Free Talk Live. Call in toll free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-FREE.
It's Free Talk Live. The live Sunday edition continues. You can join us here toll free, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. If you're on the line right now, we're going to get you on here with Bob Murphy, who's with us from consultingbyrpm.com. That's his website. His new book is called Choice, and we've been discussing all manner of economics here tonight, specifically the so-called Austrian school compared to the Keynesian school. And we were actually in the middle of a call from Larry in South Carolina, who was wondering what Bob thought about this idea of a consumption tax. And I want to bring both Bob and Larry back on the line here. Larry, for our listeners just tuning in, can you briefly recap, without going on a long, extended explanation, what the consumption tax is you were asking about?
Briefly, replacing the income tax and most of the other taxes, except for the Social Security tax, potentially. But the rest of them will be completely replaced by a consumption tax, which is a sales tax that you pay at the time you make a purchase. And I think that just for every, not just retail, for every sale, industrial as well, that they pay a 15% tax. And that 5% of that tax should stay in the city and county in which it was spent, and 5% would stay into the state, and 5% would go to the federal government.
Thank you, Larry. I'm gonna let Bob answer the question at this point. Go ahead, Bob.
Okay, sure. So thanks, Larry, for the question. Let me just give a few quick responses. So first of all, I'm a voluntarist, and so we say I don't think any taxes should ever be charged, that I don't think that they're ethical, and I don't think they're necessary. I don't think that there are certain things that couldn't be provided by voluntary people paying, contractually agreed upon prices for things. Now you say, okay, but come on, let's be the real world here. Let's be practical. If I had to choose, and I had the power to choose between a system based on low tax rates on consumption versus what we have now, high marginal tax rates on income with all sorts of exemptions and deductions given out to various people so the government can kind of control their behavior and steer them into the stuff they want to, of course I would pick the former. That the economic theory does give some reasons that taxing consumption harms things less than taxing income, right? In other words, taxing income is really stupid. It's counterproductive, especially if you get to high levels of taxation. But if you say so, how come I'm not jumping around? And when I was younger, I did write a tax reform proposal for the state of California showing how they could, with the same amount of revenue, have a much more sensible system that, would make the economy grow, create jobs, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, the current system is not there because the people in Washington are stupid. They like the system the way it is, okay? And so I think it's a bit naive for us to get all worked up and to push our energy into a particular tax reform proposal because they know, the current system is so messed up. Of course, it's not conducive to growth, and it's not even raising as much revenue as they could want. But that's the thing, is they want things besides just, they can print money, right? So they don't have a shortage of dollars. Having high tax rates helps them sort of control who's on top in certain industries. And so, unfortunately, I think it's kind of where you're going to just put a lot of emotional energy into something and get real worked up about a particular plan that I don't think is going to survive. The last thing I'll say is my concern about bringing a new qualitative type of tax, like a national consumption tax or a carbon tax, things like that, is that they may phase out the other ones up front as part of some deal, but then down the road when they need more revenue, they'd bring the other stuff back in. So that's why I really would not want them to introduce a qualitative new tax on something that they haven't taxed before.
I've always said
the income tax was like a 1.5% or something like that to the very richest people
in the beginning
when it was introduced.
Yeah, and I've always said it's like rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. These people are spending the sales tax advocates. What do they call it? The national sales tax or whatever, or fair tax. That's what Neil Bortz was promoting years ago. That they're spending all this effort and this time on this, and who knows how many millions of dollars to promote this idea, and for what? To reorganize the failing federal government seems pointless.
Right. So again, Larry's still listening. That plan, yeah. If I could choose between having the Bortz's plan versus the current system, yes, his plan would be way better. But I'm just saying, even if they did that, they would just over time, new Congresses would come in and start tweaking it and doing this and that because they benefit from that. They want to be able to give exemptions to their buddies or to steer people. I mean, that one of the ways Wall Street maintains its hold on investments right now is everyone participates in these, 401ks and 403bs and blah, blah, blah. And why do they do that? Is because the main tax rate is so punitive. If they say, oh, but if you do it in these special retirement plans we've designed for you, you get to tax defer it, right? So that it's a huge club by which they get everyone to do what they want.
Yep. Let's go to Libertarian Banker on the line, calling from who knows where. You're on Free Talk Live, Libertarian Banker with Bob Murphy.
Hey, guys. Really appreciate the conversation tonight. I wanted to ask about Bitcoins and how do you see cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and other, fixed currencies that can't be printed by a government? How do you see those long term, taking hold and actually overtaking of the traditional forms of fiat currency? Because in my eyes, the Federal Reserve, the immorality of the Federal Reserve comes from the government and the fact that the government backs it and the government can borrow money on behalf of unborn children. So wondering about that, about Bitcoins and your thoughts long term.
Okay, sure. So let me also plug, there's a website, understandingbitcoin.us, where I did a co-authored piece with Silas Barta, and a guide that I do the economics and he does the technical stuff to introducing Bitcoin to the newcomer. So if people want to go there, it's a free pamphlet. So I think, and let me second, I think what Ian was saying earlier, there is a sense in which cryptocurrencies are even harder than gold and silver. Because strictly speaking, an asteroid could crash into Earth tomorrow with tons of new gold or silver, where, chemists could come up with some new process that easily and cheaply transforms baser metals into metal and into gold and silver, in which case they would no longer be scarce and that, they wouldn't serve well as money. Whereas, as we all know, Bitcoin has a built-in mathematical upper limit that can't be beaten in such a way. So there's a sense in which cryptocurrencies really are the excellence, the best there could possibly be in terms of a finite supply. I think that over time, as more people become more comfortable with, I think that's the stumbling block right now. I mean, I know what Bitcoin is and I have some of it, but I don't use it in day-to-day purchases. It's just, it hasn't impacted my personal life like that. And
you don't live in New Hampshire.
Well, exactly. I realized that. So it's sort of a tipping point. If everyone was doing it, then everybody would do it.
It still hurts me that you don't live in New Hampshire.
Here you can actually go into a corner store. There's a place called Corner News. You can walk in there and buy anything in the store with Bitcoin. So it's actually real. There's a vegetarian food truck in town, which is really cool.
Oh, right. And that's what I'm saying. That I think people who are like, oh, you can never use that. Because I'm saying it will take time to do that. And I can see with my own eyes that it's happening. But that right now is the stumbling block, I think, for the average person is just, it's more of a thing like they would do, because they want to help get that society there instead of practical convenience. But even like I told you earlier, I'm very concerned about the future. I've been buying, silver coins, and I'm going to buy some more gold. But they're the dangers too. Well, gee, what do I do with it? Do I keep it in my apartment? Well, what if somebody breaks in? I don't want to put it in a safe deposit box. They're going to lock that thing down if there's a crisis, right? So there are pros and cons of various assets, and cryptocurrencies. They're very strong in a few key elements, namely, transferability and ease of hiding it and so forth, and the hard aspect in terms of the limit on the units. So I think over time, more and more people are going to embrace those, whether it's Bitcoin or some derivative. I think clearly those things are going to be around.
And we're starting to see some real killer apps for Bitcoin now. I mean, it's taken a few years, but we've been promoting SaveAtPurse.com, which actually gives people 20% off or more on their Amazon purchases. So up until kind of recently, Bitcoin's adoption has been mostly among technically savvy libertarian types. Like libertarians like it because they can see that it can help undermine the state money system, and that's valuable to us. But the average person, they don't really care about that. But they do care about getting 20% off of Amazon purchases or 20% off of their Starbucks coffee, which you can get at coffee.foldapp.com, which is super easy to use. I tried it out. If you can give somebody an incentive, a fiscal incentive to make the switch or to start buying some of this cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, then I think that's really going to be a key element to pushing wider adoption. And listeners can go to saveatpurse.com to get signed up there. And when you do that, Free Talk Live gets a very small portion of any future purchases you make. Last purchase I made at Amazon, I saved 40% because I paid with Bitcoin through saveatpurse.com. So we're really seeing some really cool development there. Bob, I want to thank you for spending so much time with us here tonight. I really appreciate I know you're a busy guy, so thank you for that.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. And yeah, just to follow up that caller, I think he's right that as the fiat money system really hits a wall over the next few decades, I think a lot of people are going to go and try out these cryptocurrencies.
That's what we've seen with Greece and other places. Hey, thanks, Bob, for being on with us. That's consultingbyRPM.com is his website. His new book is Choice. And we'll come back with more Free Talk Live. You can join us.
Are you searching for your soulmate? Someone you can trust, who will never betray you or cooperate with the NSA? Stop searching. With EasyDNS, you found a keeper. EasyDNS does it all. Domain names, web hosting, and managed WordPress hosting. EasyDNS stands up for your internet freedom. And with servers in Canada, they do not cooperate with the NSA. Go to EasyDNS.com. You'll love their services or get a full refund. They guarantee it. And they accept Bitcoin. That's EasyDNS.com.
If you expect secure, privacy-oriented services and real human support from your web hosting provider, choose Virtual Space International. From domain names and SSL certificates to offshore banking accounts, Virtual Space International has been the all-in-one, multi-language solution for over 25 years. And satisfaction is guaranteed or your money back. We even accept Bitcoin. Find out how to get 50% off for life at SaveTimeHosting.com.
Hi, my name is DeRay, suffering from migraines, having Botox injections in my head and neck to alleviate pain, costing $1,500 out of my pocket. I discovered Dr. Ortman and Gentle Touch chiropractic adjustment called Nuka. I'm migraine-free since my first adjustment. Thanks for giving me my life back, Dr. Ortman. I wish they prescribed you instead of Botox.
Thanks, DeRay. Putting the bones back in place is only half of the solution. We design a nutritional supplement program the body can handle, actually absorb, providing nutrients, targeting the problem area. Between Nuka and nutrition, we will have you on the road to a faster and more permanent recovery. Look us up on the web at drortman.com or call 952-303-9124. Let us help you feel better faster. Wellspring Spinal Care at 952-303-9124. Again, that's 952-303-9124. Or on the web at drortman.com.
Thank you for listening to GCN. Be sure to visit GCNlive.com today.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Gordon Griffin. A man has been charged with 3 counts of attempted murder after opening fire at a church in East Selma, Alabama. Authorities say James Jr. Mentor shot and wounded his girlfriend, their baby, and a clergyman. The victims are reported in stable condition this hour. A new wildfire in Northern California has killed 1 person and destroyed or damaged 10 homes in Monterey County. Now, farther north, 2 other blazes have killed 5 people and destroyed at least 1,400 homes. CAL FIRE spokeswoman Lynette Round says California's latest wildfire is following a similar pattern to 2 other massive blazes still burning in Northern California.
These fires are moving so quickly. It is so dry out there. We've been in the 4th year of drought, and that's just not helping us out. So these fires are moving quicker. They're hotter, and we want these residents to be able to get out in time.
The man suspected in the Phoenix freeway shootings tells the judge authorities have the wrong guy.
Leslie Merritt Jr. made his first court appearance Saturday since being arrested Friday in connection with a spate of freeway shootings along Interstate 10 in Phoenix. Merritt told Judge Lisa Roberts he's not the shooter since his gun's been in a pawn shop for 2 months and he's not had access to a weapon. But police say forensics shows otherwise. They say Merritt's gun's the one used in several of the shootings, and prosecutors contend he's a danger to the community. Judge Roberts agreed and placed a $1 million cash bond on the 21-year-old landscaper. Rhonda Rockster reporting.
Pope Francis is finishing his day in Cuba with an evening Vespers service in the San Cristobal Cathedral and a meeting with Cuban young people. The Pope will be spending 1 more day in Cuba before heading to Washington, D.C. on Tuesday. The left-wing Syriza party has won Greece's 3rd national vote this year. It's a resounding success for Alexis Tsipras, who resigned as prime minister in order to face down an in-party rebellion over his decision to accept painful austerity measures in exchange for an international bailout. More on these stories at townhall.com.
There's no better way to bring in customers than with postcards and flyers. You can say a little or say a lot. And these days, if you're looking for the best selection and the best value, the best choice is to go online and do it yourself at Vistaprint.com. In fact, right now at Vistaprint.com, you can get 500 postcards starting at just $24.99. That's right, 500 postcards, $24.99. At Vistaprint.com, you'll find all the right sizes and finishes and an expanded range of paper stocks, so you can go basic or go brilliant. And you can do it all quickly and confidently with easy uploads, quick design tools, complimentary design support, and an absolute guarantee that we stand by everything we sell, every time, for any reason, or we'll make it right. So make the smart choice, get the best value, visit Vistaprint.com today, and be sure to enter promo code MARKETING so you can get your 500 postcards starting at just $24.99. But hurry, because while this deal is here today, it expires September 30th. So go to Vistaprint.com today and enter promo code MARKETING.
The U.S. and Russia are attacking ISIS or ISIL forces in Syria. Connie Lawn has more.
The U.S. is bombing ISIS terrorists when it can find them in Syria, Iran, and Iraq. Russia may soon add to the bombing in Syria, but it is doing so to keep Syrian leader Assad in power. The U.S. wants him out. The U.S. and Russian defense chiefs held a 50-minute phone conversation. Apparently, both nations will go ahead with their bombing campaigns and hope they will not get in each other's way. Connie Lawn reporting from Washington.
Police say a stock car driver taking a ceremonial victory lap died after suffering an apparent medical problem following a race in Vermont. Authorities say that the driver appeared to suffer some kind of medical problem before accelerating into a wall, injuring a staff member. Officials at Devil's Bowl Speedway say 63-year-old Leon Gagno had raced stock cars for more than 40 years. News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Gordon Griffin. And now there are three
American cities that have their very own dedicated internet domain name. Early next month, Miami joins New York with .nyc and Las Vegas with .vegas in offering its own domain name. The .miami domain will be operated by Minds Plus Machine, a leading domain name registry, and a good chunk of the revenue generated will go to the city.
That is correspondent Rich Thomas. In New York City is embarking on a $30 million plan to prepare to staffers at social service organizations to screen people for possible psychological problems. The city's First Lady says New York will become a really good laboratory for teaching non-professionals to be mental health helpers. It's an increasingly popular approach to extending the thinly stretched mental health system, but there's also been some debate over what role non-professionals should play. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Owe $10,000 or more to the IRS?
Get on board with the Tax Admiral. Don't take on the IRS alone. I'll cut penalties and reduce your overall tax bill. Sometimes I can even get it zeroed out completely.
We're an A-rated company helping people clean up their mess with the IRS.
If you owe $10,000 or more, then call the Tax Admiral.
Call 800-287-7180. Again, that's 800-287-7180. 800-287-7180.
Hi, I'm Rick Ossick with Famous Footwear. Did you know that premature birth is the #1 killer of babies? That's why we support the March of Dimes in the fight against premature birth. Join us in supporting cutting-edge research, treatment programs, and outreach to help moms have full-term pregnancies and healthy babies. Learn how you can help save babies' lives at marchofdimes.org.
Free Talk Live. It's Free Talk Live. Join us here, live Sunday edition, continuing now. You can join us and bring up anything that happens to be on your mind. There's a major jump in the fee to expatriate. Ready to leave? Sick and tired of Bush versus Clinton? Sanders versus Trump? You ready to take off and go to greener pastures? Well, it's going to cost you even more now than it has ever done in the past. They've actually raised it a second time in recent years. So we'll tell you more about that here in a moment from Forbes. Our toll-free number, if you want to join us, is 855-450-FREE. With you in the studio tonight, you've got Ian.
And Mark.
Let's go to the phones first, though, where Ralph is on the line in New Jersey, listening to WOBM. Hello, Ralph.
Hello to the both of you. How are you?
Excellent. Go ahead with your thoughts.
let me talk about the double standard that exists in this country in black and white. Okay, that whole situation with Trump that happened there in New Hampshire, that's a case in point. Okay,
What situation?
I mean, don't ever. When a planted individual, an agent, provocateur, saboteur, sent out by Obama in that crowd, asked the question about Obama being an adherent of Islam, number one, or he is not born in this country.
Oh, what was this? Was this a Trump thing? Was this where someone asked a question of Donald Trump about Obama?
Anything. Right. He didn't say anything at all. Trump, that is, okay, until he went over the speech that he delivered before that crowd in Iowa. I'm not hung up about that issue. It's such an old issue, and it was Hillary who bring up that whole thing originally. Such a short memory span this woman is, okay?
I don't really know what you're talking about at this point. I'm confused.
Well, the issue about the birth certificate and Obama being an adherent of Islam, okay? It was Hillary who bring that whole issue first, and the magazine in New York, the New Yorker, even was inspired to make a cover story with regard to that. But that being said, between Bernie Sanders, a libertarian, white liberal girl, okay, and Obama, they believe that this country is racist. This is the ultimate test.
Who believes the country is racist?
Who said those?
I thought you just said someone believes the country is racist.
That's Obama and Bernie Sanders.
What does that even mean to believe the country is racist? You mean everyone in America?
According to Obama, racism is part of our DNA.
How can that be? How can it be that someone, if it's true that America is racist, which I think is a ridiculous statement, but if it were true, how could a black man win president?
Thank you. But more to that, like I said last week, any black person right now in this country, I'm willing to judge them according to character rather than according to complexion or according to race.
That's the right way to approach it. I mean, people are and this is something we've been discussing over the last few days on the show, that people are individuals.
Question, though. Okay, does the two of you believe that the country is racist? This is the ultimate question for white liberals.
Mark, do you believe that the country is racist?
I think the term race, I think there's a difference between saying that the United States is racist and saying that there's racism in the United States' DNA. I think that it is, if you consider the Constitution, but I'm not even done answering the question. Yeah. Take a breath. I think that it absolutely, there's racism in the United States' DNA. All you have to do is look at the founding document, and you can see that black people are called three-fifths of a person. Frank, I'm not done. And then Native people are actually considered not people at all. They don't get a vote. They're not even concluded in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, because in telling the narrative of this country, they make it look like, blacks necessarily have a clean hand when it comes to the issue of slavery. They are the one who pushed their own people into that before the white man set foot in Africa. And, furthermore, there were free blacks who owned slaves in this country. Dig up your history, guys.
You don't have to tell me. I know.
Yeah, we're aware of that. Ralph, thank you for the call. No, I don't think the country is racist. I mean, that's a ridiculous statement that each individual has their own beliefs. Some individuals in the United States are racist. Is it a majority? I don't think it's even close. What the actual percentage is, I have no idea, because people are generally not going to be too open about those beliefs.
Yeah, I think it's very difficult to quantify it, but I can tell you that in my personal life, my mom had a very good friend who I knew my entire life, who was tried and true Democrat, who decided to vote for McCain in 2008 because the Democrats were running a Muslim. And I could tell from the conversations this lady was upset about the color of Barack Obama, too. So it goes on both sides.
Yeah, I can see that. If you want to join us here, our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE.
And but I do say that, it's pretty obvious that a black man wouldn't have been elected president if the vast majority of Americans didn't were not racist. Ben Carson is currently
a black guy.
A black guy among the front runners in the Republican ticket.
I've heard he was number 2 in the polls.
Yep, as was Herman Cain in 2012.
And that's in the supposedly racist party, right? The Republicans.
That's the idea. And I don't know. I think if I had to make a guess which party most of the people in the KKK vote for, I would say that they're probably generally Republicans. But I don't think the KKK has the monopoly on racism either. I think that if you think somebody is too dumb to make enough money and they need welfare, that you're a racist too. If you think that based solely on their skin color that they're just not smart enough to make enough money, that they can't make it without the government's help, that makes you a bigot.
According to Forbes magazine's Robert Wood, when the news broke a year ago that the U.S. was hiking the fee to renounce U.S. citizenship by 422%, there was a backlash. If anything, the uptick in American expatriations grew rather than declined. The U.S. State Department said raising the fee for renunciation of U.S. citizenship is about demand and paperwork. Perhaps, but a hike from $450 to $2,350 is still steep. That's more than 20 times.
That's a lot of paperwork.
The average level in other high-income countries. State Department complains about demand on their services and all the extra workload they have to process people who are on their way out.
I wonder what it's like other countries leaving, getting out of, and what it costs to give up your citizenship for other countries.
About 20 times less than this amount. The State Department...
they sure have some valuable bureaucrats over there at the State Department, don't they?
Even worse, for the second time in a year, the State Department did another hike. You can view it as yet another 422%. In fairness, the State Department presumably believes it is just bringing the fees into parity. Up until now, there was the enhanced $2,350 fee for renouncing and a smaller $450 fee for relinquishment. It may be a distinction without a difference. As the State Department put it, it was just harmonizing the two, which are similar in any case. In short, the fee is now the same, $2,350, whether you are renouncing or relinquishing, whatever the hell the difference is there. The State Department announced it would begin charging the $2,350 fee for individuals seeking a certificate of loss of nationality based on relinquishment of U.S. citizenship. Leaving the U.S. for good isn't just a matter of getting on a plane. It's not usually primarily about taxes, although taxes often play a part.
Well, I don't know whether it's primarily about taxes or not. I have no clue what people's reasoning is. But I will say that the United States is singular in the world in the way that it charges income tax. If you make more than like $100,000 a year outside of the United States, you're responsible for paying income tax to the United States.
If you still have a citizenship.
Yeah. A place that you do not live and do not use their services, you've got to pay them taxes. And it's ridiculous. I've heard that no other country does this. I've heard China has some thing that's like this. I've heard North Korea has something like this. But you're not in a great they're not in a great zip code if you're charging people that don't live in your country taxes. It's ridiculous.
All right, we'll talk more about renouncing citizenship.
And you can't call yourself a free country if you charge people to leave.
Yeah, well, because that's just the fee. Then there's other taxes you have to pay in order to get out and get through all the paperwork as well. So it costs a lot more than $2,350 for some people to leave the U.S. You can share your thoughts. Maybe you've got experience with this. 855-450-FREE.
Going back to my back and saying, you cost me a lot of misery, and all total, $2,700 in doggy fees, and all it took was one container of Dynavite, 2 pounds, 3 ounces, and my dog has been cured. Abby's a 5-year-old Silky Terrier. She had, like, chicken pox on her belly, clusters of bumps on her back, and she was allergic to, like, 70-some-odd things. So the dermatologist, it was, oh, yeah, just keep giving her needles every 10 days. But she's not clearing up. And then it came up on my radio, Dynavite. DINOVITE.com.
859-428-1000.
And I was like, oh, that's it. I gave her the Dynavite after 5 weeks. And one morning there was nothing there. And I'm like, oh, my God, she's all clear. There wasn't one blemish on her body. Her fur is beautiful. She is totally happy. She is a healthy, bump-free, pimple-free, shiny, silky. It turned our lives around. So thank you very much for Dynavite. I couldn't be happier. Dynavite's the bomb.
859-428-1000. 859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
No!
That's the sound your brain makes when you realize you're buying something and forgot the coupon. Online or in a store, knowing that you're missing a deal is the worst. You need the app from Retail Me Not right now. Get thousands of coupons from 50,000 stores like Kohl's, Domino's, Best Buy, and more with crazy deals like 60% off, free shipping, and free gifts with purchase. You can get a text invite to download the Retail Me Not app 100% free right now for Apple or Android. Just text the code UPDATE to 42767. Then just show your phone at checkout to save. It literally couldn't be easier. It's 2015. Keep your coupons in your phone. Stop what you're doing and text UPDATE to 42767. Listeners will get a text with a link to download it 100% free. Never forget another coupon again. Text the code UPDATE to 42767 right now. That's UPDATE to 42767. Message and data rates may apply. For terms and privacy, visit retailmenot.com.
Okay, open your mouth and say ah.
Ah. When your child has a sore throat, you need to know when to get help. The doctor recommended Say Ah Sore Throat Exam is your solution. The scientifically designed oral retractor offers a clear view of the throat, relaxing the tongue and minimizing gag reflex. Compare with a medical grade chart, website, and app. Then you'll know just what to tell your doctor. A wellness plan in your hands in minutes. Go to SayAHHnow.com. SayAhNow.com, the new mainstay for every family's first aid kit.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-905-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. Say goodbye to the cable guy and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. Sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows, pause and rewind live TV, even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV. Say goodbye to the cable guy. Cut costs and get more. 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV.
Healthy, organic, fresh fish, robust, mouth-watering vegetables, all from your home. It's called aquaponics. This brilliant, self-sustaining protein and veggie system is perfect for year-round growing. Know exactly where your food is coming from. Aquaponicssource.com is the one-stop shop for all your needs. Fish, fish food, plumbing, full systems, classes, and more. Learn to build your own system. Go to aquaponicssource.com for a free guide to aquaponics. That's aquaponicssource.com.
Now, more Free Talk Live. Call in toll-free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-FREE.
Free Talk Live. Join us here on the live Sunday edition. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Have you gone through the process, the arduous process of renouncing or relinquishing U.S. citizenship? I'm not sure what the difference is, but the fees have been raised dramatically, 422% in the last year. They've raised the fee for renouncing, and now they've raised the fee for relinquishing as well. This is the State Department doing it. The story's coming from Forbes, and we'll continue with that here in a moment. One of the ways to protect your finances, to protect what you've saved, is, in my opinion, to get it out of the U.S. dollar and put it into other things. Gold and silver are great, but it's hard to cross the border with a bunch of gold and silver. So if you are going from one point to another and you want to take your wealth with you, Bitcoin is an excellent way to do that, because Bitcoin does not take up physical space. You don't have to move $10,000, because if you leave with $10,000 or more, they freak out and they call you a drug dealer or whatever, and they take your money.
If you want to move $3 million from one country to another, $3 million that belongs to you and is none of the business of any government bureaucrat anywhere. If you want to move that money, you can do that most easily with Bitcoin.
It's true. So to get Bitcoin, you can go to expresscoin.com. It's the best choice for getting cryptocurrencies. Not just Bitcoin, they also have Litecoin and Dogecoin. It's fast, safe, easy, and inexpensive, and they are a licensed money services business. You can get your cryptocurrency with money order or check, and you can start off at expresscoin.com. Whether you're in the U.S. or Canada, it's expresscoin.com, and you can do it from your smartphone. They've got an app. Plus, you can use coupon code FTL, and you get up to $40 worth of cryptocurrency with no transfer fee at all. Very cool deal. You can use coupon code FTL, like Free Talk Live, to get it over at expresscoin.com. We'll talk more about the State Department jacking up the rates and what it's like when you actually go through this process. I've not gone through it, but a friend of the show, Roger Veer, has done that, and it's been an absolutely harrowing experience and an incredibly expensive experience. We actually had Roger on to talk about it, I don't know, a few months ago at this point, and it's just insane what they're doing to this guy. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE if you want to join us. We've also got Skype. Skype username here is LRN.FM. Let's go to the phones and to the fun. Talk to John in Nevada. You're on Free Talk Live listening to LRN.FM. Hello, John.
Hi, guys. I greatly enjoyed Cantwell's contributions to the show, but I don't have any problem with Free Talk Live and Cantwell parting. I understand there's a good case to be made that Chris isn't compatible with the plan for the show. So I didn't have any problem with that, but I had some issues with some of the things that were said in the issue that led to the breakup at this time.
Are you talking about the amplifier thread that most people couldn't see?
Yeah,
Okay.
and and some of it's been discussed on the radio, but one of the questions that's been asked, and I think both of you have asked, is why focus on group differences when the real thing that matters is to treat people as individuals?
Yeah, I think that's the proper libertarian perspective, since libertarians tend to be very big individualists. They tend to understand why the individual is important. So, yeah, I agree with that.
And I think that it also allows people who are part of whatever it is focused group that's being focused upon to be welcomed into the liberty community.
Well, I think there's a good answer to the question, though.
Okay.
Well, here's one good answer, is that often we need to know about group differences to evaluate whether people are being treated as individuals. So let's say, as an example, that Mark is running a crew of firefighters in his town. He's in charge of hiring the firefighters. And a woman comes and says, well, Mark's practicing sexism. He thinks women are inferior and he won't hire any women firefighters. Now, how do we know if that's true? How do we evaluate whether Mark is treating people as individuals or not? How do we evaluate that without looking at group differences?
I would guess you would send a woman in to apply, and presuming she meets the qualifications, if Mark disallows her from working there, that would be some evidence that he would be disallowing qualified women from working as a firefighter.
But Mark gets to decide what the qualifications are, and he thinks, he says, I could just find better qualified. The guy I hired instead was better qualified. How?
Well, I doubt that. Mark has complained that the fire crew is full of old men right now, so it doesn't sound like young guys are really knocking on the front door.
He's talking about hiring, though. This isn't ours is a volunteer crew. We got to take what we can get. For me, what I think as far as hiring firefighters goes, there should be a strength test, and if somebody passes the strength test, then they should be qualified, and if they don't, they shouldn't.
But still, that's about the individual and whether or not the individual passes the test. What does this have to do with groups?
Well, Mark is the one giving us the test results. He's the one telling us whether people passed or not, or whether people passed. So the only way we can know whether to trust his answers is to know whether it's, I've heard Mark say on the show that women in general are not as well physically equipped to be firefighters as men.
I do believe it, yeah.
At that time, I didn't hear anybody try to shut him down for saying that kind of collectivist thing. I didn't hear anyone call that collectivism, because it's generally pretty well accepted that that is the truth. So So,
but it doesn't matter. See, this is the point I was trying to make when it came to what Chris Cantwell was saying. Even if what he was saying is true, and that some races, are better intellectually qualified by genetics than others, even if that's true, and I don't know if it is, I'm not going to spend the time looking into it because I don't care.
I have no interest.
Because I don't care. And even if it's true, and it probably is, that women, are not as strong typically as men, it doesn't matter, because what matters is the individual and whether or not the individual is able to meet the testing requirements or whatever. And if somebody didn't call Mark out, well, then, I apologize about that, and maybe he should have been called out on that. But, it's open phones every night here, so anyone can call in and call anybody out about anything they want.
Well, I didn't think Mark did anything unreasonable, nor do I think it is unreasonable to talk about group differences. I think that they can help us understand, that they can help us evaluate whether people are being treated as individuals. Now, I don't think Cantwell is a person who's not willing to treat people as individuals. As I listened to his podcast, I was struck by how proud he was to have Walter Williams on his show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can imagine. I would be too.
It even made him think that, he changed the name of his podcast because of that, because he thought, this is really too degrading for someone like Walter Williams to be coming on.
I don't think Cantwell's a bigot. I don't think he hates black people. I don't think that's the case with him at all. But getting on the radio and talking about how, well, the facts show that, this race is inferior to this other race, so that's just not helping the liberty movement.
Well, and I'd also like to point out, and Cantwell has said this, he does a show that is iconoclastic on the internet for a particular reason, because it draws people. Free Talk Live is a radio program that has to be far more inclusive. We have different business models, and those business models are in conflict.
I understand he's not necessarily compatible with your business.
Right. And he's not compatible, and our business is to spread the ideas of liberty as far and as wide as possible, and getting on the radio and talking about race realism or whatever isn't helping that. Thanks, John. It's Free Talk Live. You can join us here.
Silver has always been nature's very own antibiotic, and only one system allows you to produce an endless supply of nano-sized silver solutions right from the convenience of your home. Silver Lungs. With the addition of our unique lung delivery system, respiratory infections are targeted directly, where traditional oral administration simply cannot reach. This pioneering method also preserves the original particle sizes and delivers your silver solution directly into the bloodstream. See the Silver Lungs generator and lung delivery system at silverlungs.com. That's silverlungs.com.
A revolution in body protection has arrived only at FortressSurvivalLLC.com. Introducing the revolutionary patented Level 3 Bulletproof Vest. 100% Kevlar, 100% American-made. Concealable, fully adjustable, and the lowest price on the market. Adult size normally $289.99, now just $250. Kid size normally $239.99, now just $200. Get affordable protection with a Level 3A Bulletproof Vest from FortressSurvivalLLC.com. For thou art my rock and my fortress. Psalm 31:3.
Sciatica, lower back pain, hip pain, poor posture. If you suffer from any of these problems, get ready to relax. Introducing an amazing product that's been in the market for over 25 years, the Sacro Wedgie. It was invented by a football coach using a common-sense osteopath technique. He created this device to help his athletes by isolating and supporting the sacrum, which is the keystone of our anatomy. This wedge-shaped bone is in the center of our hips, where a lot of pain starts. Simply relax 20 minutes daily on the amazingly simple Sacro Wedgie and let gravity do the work, helping muscles rebalance and start releasing nerves. Sit in the Sacro Wedgie at the computer or while traveling to help correct posture to finally help relieve those stubborn aches and pains for only $33.95. It's made in the USA, so click the family-owned website at sacrowedgie.com, spelled SACROWEDGY.com, or call 1-800-737-9295. That's 1-800-737-9295. Relax your back pain away with the Sacro Wedgie.
CadyArmor.com is your one-stop shop for the most affordable body armor, period. With packages starting at $169.99 and free shipping on every order. Why would you go anywhere else? Cady offers soft armor and rifle threat rated armor up to level 4. Go to CadyArmor.com and get your body armor today while you still can. Mention this ad and receive a free water purification kit for a limited time with any body armor package. Go to CadyArmor.com. That's CATI Armor.com. Come and take it.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich? Working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare? Having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom106.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom, the number 106.com. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom106.com.
Are your Google search results killing you? Unflattering content in blogs, news articles, online reviews, social media, or other sources can jeopardize your reputation, your business, and your livelihood. Let Reputation.com help. Our patented technology will make the truth about you more visible while pushing down unwanted negative content. Improve your Google search results. Call Reputation.com at 1-800-831-0771 for a free consultation. That's 800-831-0771.
This is Free Talk Live. Call in toll free, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-FREE.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live, the live Sunday edition of the program. You can join us here toll free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. With you in studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
And, of course, you can join us online anytime at freetalklive.com. You can actually create the content there on the front page of the website. The content is based on a Reddit-based system, so it's free to do this. You just go there, and if you've got a Reddit account, which is free to get, then you can link it up right to our Free Talk Live account and use the Free Talk Live Reddit right from the front page of our site, which means you can submit show prep suggestions, stuff you might like to hear us talking about on the radio, and what you think other listeners would appreciate. It doesn't have to be news. It can be a blog post. It can be your own writings. It can be a YouTube video, something funny, whatever you want to submit. Get over there and get interactive at freetalklive.com. There have been some calls regarding Chris Cantwell here tonight, and on the internet, this has been blowing up over the last 24 hours since we parted ways with Chris.
I got to say, the last time it was a lot bigger deal than it seems to be this time. I don't know.
You think so?
That's been my experience. I haven't, I'm not getting the emails I was getting before.
Maybe. I think they're coming at me this time because I was the one who made the post on this. So that's probably why. And one of those common objections that I'm seeing from people who presumably are some of Chris's fans are saying, you censored Chris Cantwell. He can't come on anymore. No. No one has been censored. It was just he's not co-hosting the show.
If they care so
anymore.
deeply, send Chris money.
Well, actually, that happened. One of our amplifiers pulled her amp, and she was doing 2 amps, actually, which is unusual. Most people just do one. She did one for $25 and one for $5. So, Chris, you should have had a donation come in from one of our amplifiers over the last 24 hours. She pulled her $25 amp and said she was going to be sending that over to you. So looks like everybody has benefited from this split up. Chris Cantwell, welcome back to Free Talk Live via Skype.
Yeah, it's good to be with you, gentlemen. I actually, I got to tell you, I actually did, financially, I did better splitting with Free Talk Live than I did being on Free Talk Live. A whole bunch of people were so enthusiastic about me standing up to you guys. They just gave me a whole bunch of money. So I want to thank all of them and to thank you guys as well.
Yeah, I'll take my cut later on.
I will see about that.
It's nonsense.
But look, I listened to the last caller, and people had brought it up last night, and I've seen people commenting on your threads, and for me to go and reply to every Facebook comment,
it's impossible.
It would just be kind of tedious.
Yeah,
but I
want
to say for anybody who's confused about it, I've got an article on my website. I can't say the name of it on the radio, but I can say it is F the First Amendment, and I think you can figure this out. There's no such thing as freedom of speech. I'm not being censored. Free Talk Live has a platform, and they're exercising judgment over who they want on that platform, and that's a perfectly, I might disagree with your decision to do it, but you have every right to do that. You're not centering me. You're just deciding who gets to be on the radio. Not everybody gets to be a co-host of Free Talk Live. That's a privilege that's granted to a handful of people.
That's right. And I, you and I are still friends, and I still love you very much. And it was a choice that I was not happy about having to make, and you kind of helped me make it by basically withdrawing from the show at the same time that I was going to tell you that you were off the show, and so sort of a mutual decision. But you're still welcome here as a guest, and here you are on Skype, and you sound great.
So what do you have to say?
I've just been relegated to the station of Dave in New York is really what's happened. Kicked off the program. I'm just about on the same level as him.
Except you sound better than Dave, and you're way smarter than Dave as well.
So are you talking about? Look, are you saying that people named Dave from New York have low IQs? Is that the implication that you're making?
That one Dave from New York.
So look, but I also wanted to talk about this. There's been a few people who have called in. I listened last night as well. I didn't opt to chime in, but the last caller and a few people last night chimed in on a topic that I think is kind of important. And we don't have to touch on race specifically, but group differences is a topic that I think that you were dead wrong on in your email, Ian, saying that all that matters is the individual, and I agree. And Molyneux pointed out, as did the gentleman Molyneux was interviewing, that the topics that we were discussing are no way to judge an individual, of course, but group differences are a thing that are a topic of discussion, and we as commentators on social and political events are sort of irresponsible not to know what the causes of group differences are. So the other caller had brought up if you find out that the fire department is almost entirely male, does that mean that it's sexist? Of course not. If there is a disproportionate amount of black people in prisons, that does not mean that this is the result of white racism. If there are a disproportionate number of women in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics fields, it does not mean that STEM as an industry is sexist against women. If you start analyzing the behaviors and natures of different demographics, you start to understand the reasons that those demographics tend to fall into the categories that they do. And that's an intellectual pursuit that I understand not everybody's really suited for, but it's a thing that people who have the courage to do so ought to, give it a shot once in a while.
Well, for me, what this means is that essentially what I'm looking to do is I'm looking to make the ideas of liberty understandable, palatable to the largest group I possibly can. I'm not, because Free Talk Live's on the radio and people turn on their radio in their car or they're listening to whatever station they're listening to, Free Talk Live gets into their ears in a way that a podcast never can. So you, as a podcaster, you have to draw people in with your message, and same with Stefan Molyneux. I think Stefan Molyneux's had a few different iterations online throughout the years. He's tried out different things in different areas in order to see how he can spread his message further. And I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with that. It's just that there's different ways to bring the message out, and I've got to say, if we had a black supremacist on the show, let's say that there was a black guy that believed that black people were genetically superior to white people, he would probably be an interesting and just amusing co-host, because you could always just kind of yuck it up and say, well, that's a silly thing to say. But if it's the opposite, you've stepped on the third rail of, one of the many third rails that are out there in the area of sort of American free speech.
Right, but what you're doing, Mark, is you're moving the goalposts, right? Because what I didn't call in to dispute your business decision. So I agree with you. I said before, look, when I got suspended from the program before, I understood the reason that you did that. I said, hey, if you go balls to the wall and we just take this thing and deal with the controversy, I think it would pay off in the long run. You disagreed. That was your business decision. I didn't give you a hard time about it. I never told nobody to pull amps or stop listening to Free Talk Live. Still haven't done that, by the way.
Nope.
And that's fine. That's your business decision. I'm calling to talk to you about a concept, and this is why I'm getting upset. When Ian sent out the email talking about, well, all libertarians should care about is the individual, Well, that's actually a factually incorrect statement. I'm just calling in to set the record straight at this point. The truth of the matter is, if any of you have bothered to pick up a newspaper or turn on a television or listen to a radio station, or if you have Facebook or Twitter or anything else right now, what you're hearing is Black Lives Matter. You're hearing racial discrimination. Race relations in this country are at a point that I have not seen in the course of my lifetime. I'm 34 years old. Maybe they were worse in the 60s. I wasn't around. Who knows? But they're pretty bad right now. And it is that way because there is a lot of falsehood going around. People are spreading false information. And if people are not going to address the real information based on the demographics, then they're going to come to some really bad conclusions. If you believe that whites and blacks and women and men and Hispanics and Latinos and Asians and Jews are all just blank slate, equal, completely same people, if we're all just a clone army, and we're just discriminating because this clone army has black skin and this clone army has yellow skin and this clone army wears this hat and this clone army doesn't shave their beards, and we're just thinking that we're all just doing this because of the way that each other look, well, then we're going to come to some really bad conclusions. And let's not be surprised when we're coming to really bad conclusions and we're talking about government policy, which is a lot of what this revolves around.
Chris, hold that thought. We're going to bring you back here.
Okay.
This is Free Talk Live, the live Sunday edition. Our toll-free number, if you want to join us, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. It's Free Talk Live.
Are you suffering with hearing loss? Are you sick of people constantly complaining that your TV is too loud? Are you tired of asking people to speak up? Would you like to hear more clearly, but you don't want to wear a hearing aid that makes you look old? Then you need to try Listen Clear, a life-changing breakthrough precisely designed by top audio engineers to fit your ear almost invisibly. And you can adjust Listen Clear to find the perfect way to hear everything, wherever you are and whatever you're doing. And right now you can try Listen Clear absolutely risk-free with free shipping. We'll even give you free batteries for life. So call now, 1-800-719-9349. Listen Clear is lightweight and completely hassle-free, and it's practically invisible. Call for your 100% risk-free home trial with free shipping and free batteries for life. For free information, call now, 1-800-719-9349. That's 1-800-719-9349. 1-800-719-9349.
We use mobile devices right against our bodies every day, but growing scientific evidence has emerged showing serious health risks associated with exposure to EMF radiation emitted from these devices. The solution is Defender Shield, the most effective mobile radiation shielding ever developed. Defender Shield blocks virtually 100% of EMF radiation from cell phones, tablets, and laptops, and starts at just $64.99. Buy now at DefenderShield.com. For 10% off, use promo code GCN. DefenderShield.com, the worldwide leader in mobile radiation shielding.
Just recently, we've witnessed some of the most catastrophic disasters in history. Be sure to prepare yourself with great-tasting, high-quality, GMO-free food that has a 25-year shelf life. Of course, we're talking about the foods from SurvivalFoodAlliance.com. And don't forget, the human body needs up to 3 quarts of water every day to remain healthy and hydrated. So check out our water bricks at SurvivalFoodAlliance.com. Go to SurvivalFoodAlliance.com or call 877-223-1776.
So I found out the other day that at guns80.com, a lot of people don't get the Ghost AR-15 rifle kits because they're afraid that they won't be able to do the machining work required to drill out and make ready the lower. Well, listen, guys, gals, I am not that good of a machinist, I promise you. But I was able to take a drill press with an XY table and knock this out in about 45 minutes, and in all honesty, mine looks really good. Go get yours. Don't be afraid. It's easy. Guns80.com. Go to guns80.com now.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS?
Then get on board with the Tax Admiral and let us steer your way to financial freedom.
The IRS is the largest collection agency in the world. They can freeze your bank accounts, seize your car, home, will garnish your paychecks and benefits.
Don't take on the IRS alone. I can fight for you using industry secrets that can help stop the IRS. I'll cut your penalties, slash your interest, and reduce your overall tax bill. Sometimes I can even get it zeroed out completely.
We're an A-rated company with over 30 years experience helping people clean up their mess with the IRS. And we have a 95% customer satisfaction rating.
If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS, are facing an audit, a lien, or levy, then call me right away.
Call 800-287-7180. Again, that's 800-287-7180. 800-287-7180. 800-287-7180.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states. Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
You're listening to Free Talk Live. Call in toll free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-FREE.
This is Free Talk Live. You can join us right here. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. And we'll come back and talk more about this expatriation, the idea of leaving the United States and relinquishing or renouncing the U.S. citizenship. The process, the cost going up 422% for relinquishing. It already went up 422% for renouncing. What the difference is, I'm not yet sure. Maybe if you know the difference, you can explain that to us. I'm sure it's some legal definition. 855-450-FREE. So we can continue that discussion here in a moment. We've actually got Chris Cantwell on the line with us, and want to invite you to Keenvention, which is coming up October 30th through November 1st. There will be panel discussions talking about activism. These are the activists in New Hampshire who are some of the key players in activism. They're coming to speak at Keenvention. It's a real nuts and bolts kind of convention. You'll learn about the legislative process. You'll learn about cop block. You'll learn about all kinds of different discussions. There's going to be the media panel this year hosted by Shire Dude. We got a lot of great panel hosts. Dennis Goddard, who is actually a critic of mine. I invited one of my top critics to come and speak at Keenvention because, you know, we're all about censorship. And now actually Chris Cantwell, who was one of our keynote speakers, has withdrawn from the event, which I'm bummed out about. But you know, Chris, you're back here on Free Talk Live. Keenvention.info is where folks can go to learn more about that. It's, again, October 30th through November 1st. And it's $60 to get in for the entire weekend, or Bitcoin. So go and get your tickets right now over at keenvention.info. Chris, you're back here on Free Talk Live.
Well, it's good to be with you guys. But before we went out, you know, I was trying to address the question of group differences, which a few callers have also brought up, and I would prefer if we lived in a world, gentlemen, where you were right, Ian. When you sent out the email, you said all that should matter is the individual, and I don't actually disagree with you.
I wish you would have said that. It would have given me a reason to back you staying on the show.
If you wouldn't, I wouldn't have. You're the one who made the decision. I didn't. Don't make it seem like I did.
Some people have misunderstood, and they thought that Mark gave me an ultimatum. He had not given me an ultimatum. He had suggested that he might do that, but he had not actually gone and done that. And regarding your leaving the show, then when you said certain things about races on the Free Talk Live AMP forum, I decided I was going to make this decision, but I wanted to give you a chance to say something to, you know, not sound so racist, because I don't believe you're a racist. I still don't believe that about you.
Well, I don't care if you believe that I'm a racist or not, frankly, because that's a meaningless word and it's stupid, and I don't care. Yeah. The fact of the matter is that there are differences between racial groups on average, on the aggregate, okay? And so if people want to, like, call me a racist for noticing that, then, you know, go ahead. Like, I notice that there's a disproportionate amounts of blacks on welfare and in prison. And Mark was in prison for 9 years. He was locked up with mostly black people, and he knows that most of them were not innocent, right, Mark?
Innocent of breaking the law?
Mark.
No, I'm saying innocent. I don't think that necessarily that.
Do you think that you were locked up with a bunch of innocent black men who were thrown in prison just because white racism?
No, I think that they had broken the law.
Okay, so the laws, like, and it is the prohibition on marijuana. Is it an inherently racist thing? Like, are white people charged with possession of marijuana in America?
They are, but it's my understanding it's disproportionate for blacks.
Okay, well, if you have actual data on that, I'd be interested to see it, because the fact of the matter is, I mean, you could look at studies of drug use between races. I don't want to do the race thing with you guys tonight, because I understand you guys got FCC, you got advertisers. Let's not do it.
No, it doesn't bother. It doesn't bother me to have the conversation.
It obviously does.
No,
Jeff.
it doesn't.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
No, it doesn't bother me.
You can't have the conversation in a Facebook group. Don't tell me you want to have it on the radio.
No, you could have it in the Facebook group. That's fine too. The issue was, and I'll see if I can maybe rephrase what Mark was saying earlier, that having somebody on the show who's saying things like that as a co-host is something that we can't do. Because maybe you're right. Maybe it's true that on average Asians test higher IQ than whites, and that whites test higher IQ than blacks. I mean, maybe that's true. I don't know. I'm not going to spend the time.
It's really old, and it's been disproven more than once.
Maybe it has.
No,
I'm
it
not
actually
going to
hasn't
spend the
been
time.
disproven, and now you're moving the goalposts. This is what happens. It starts off with you saying it's not true, and then you prove that it's true, and you say, I don't care if it's true. All that matters is the individual.
I didn't say it's not true.
And then you say, oh, well, group differences actually matter, and then you say, okay, well, it's our business model, and then you say, okay, it's time for a commercial break. You move the goalposts until you can break out of the conversation, and I understand why you do that, and I don't blame you for it.
But wait. You're talking to two of us, right? So I didn't say it's not true. I said I don't know. I would just accepting your claims on face value, even if it is true, to me, that's not the point. It doesn't matter, and it does not help spreading the ideas of freedom to get on the air and say those things.
It actually does, and I'll tell you why it does.
Okay, please, go ahead.
It does. And the reason that it does is, for one, all right, let's understand something. One of the things that people are complaining about with libertarianism is that libertarian is mostly white males. This is one of the things that especially the left complains about. Is that something you've heard?
I complain about it.
Yeah, I have a problem with that, too. I wish we had more diversity.
So I mean, it would be sort of like interesting to know, like, sort of why that is. And if libertarianism is a philosophy that is based on logic and reason, and certain demographics are more prone to logic than reason and than others, and then we find ourselves surrounded by that demographic, like, we should not be shocked when that happens, and we shouldn't all consider ourselves racist and bad communicators.
Well, I think that we can effectively communicate the ideas of liberty to as wide an audience as possible, because within other groups there are people who can understand the ideas of liberty and who get on board with these concepts. But if you're talking about the idea that somebody is maybe intellectually inferior on average because of the color of their skin, that might be a turnoff to them, right? Like, that might be something
like
that
a huge one
would make someone think, oh, I'm not really interested in hearing what the next thing out of this person's mouth is.
But quite clearly, like, the implication here is not that skin color creates stupidity. The implication is that, like, the brain is a bodily organ, right? And to say that a bodily organ is not handed down to you through your genetic heritage is to deny that black people are prone to sickle cell anemia or something. It's a ridiculous thing to suggest that a bodily organ is not handed down to one through their heritage. And so if that is where all of this evidence is being processed, we understand. And the truth of the matter is, gentlemen, I'm going to tell you that most white people are stupid too. I'm an MRA. I'm a men's rights activist, and I say that women on average have a higher IQ than men, right?
Is that so?
Yeah, it is. But the fact of the matter is, if you look at things like the bell curve, which you seem to have expressed familiarity with in the group, Mark, when you look at the bell curve, what you see is that men are spread out all over the IQ spectrum, and a lot of men are really, really stupid. A lot of white men are really, really stupid people, guys.
The bell curve for men is a little flatter, but it's not just intelligence. It's also it's a variety of in a variety of areas too. They're much more risk takers also.
Well, there's that, right? But at the end of the day, what you have is when you look at the IQ spectrum and you look at white males, they're all over the IQ spectrum. That's why when you look at your geniuses, your Nobel Prize laureates, they're Jews and Asians and whites, and they're male, and for the most part, right? And when you look at women, tend to be more grouped towards the center, and then so you have, like, on the lower end of the spectrum, you have all your manual laborers and this sort of thing. Now, this this actually makes sense if you think about this in terms of evolutionary pressures. When we talk about, you've got, very brilliant people who sort of figure everything out for everybody else, and then you've got sort of the worker drone laborers and this sort of thing, and then you've got women are very grouped towards the center of intelligence, and they're very capable of acting as the sort of support staff for both of them. They say, like, okay, my husband is kind of stupid, but he's really strong, and he provides for me, and so I'll take care of the kids and this sort of thing. And then you've got the much smarter men who are sort of managing all of this stuff, and then they say, okay, I'm a comfort to you when you come home for your very stressful job, and I make babies and this sort of thing. It actually makes a great deal of sense when you just think in terms of evolutionary pressures. And this is not a source of hatred. This is why I get angry when people call me a racist or a sexist. Mark, you're saying that if I'm a racist because I say that certain people are genetically inferior. Well, if black people tend to be better at playing basketball than white people, I'm certainly not saying that white people
That's a racist statement.
Black people.
I mean, I've acknowledged many times on the air that is that true statement. We can look at the NBA and see that that's a relatively true statement is racist.
I mean, if you're going to call the NBA racist, go ahead, Mark. I mean, I think it's just patently absurd for you to say something like that.
I'm only looking at the definition of racism. The definition of racism says that one race is superior to another.
Well, and I can understand
why. Go get 10 different dictionaries. You get 10 different.
And I can understand why
that's absurd.
Why Chris would say, throw that word out. I get it. Unfortunately, at this point in our development as a society, that word has not been chucked. And I think it's been an interesting conversation. I'm happy to continue having it. And thank you, Chris, for your call here tonight. You can check him out at ChristopherCantwell.com and his show Radical Agenda, now twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. ChristopherCantwell.com. Thanks, dude. All right, toll-free number here tonight. If you want to join us, 855-450-FREE. Is it conducive to spreading the message of liberty to talk about these things and to investigate them?
If you expect secure, privacy-oriented services and real human support from your web hosting provider, choose Virtual Space International. From domain names and SSL certificates to offshore banking accounts, Virtual Space International has been the all-in-one, multi-language solution for over 25 years. And satisfaction is guaranteed or your money back. We even accept Bitcoin. Find out how to get 50% off for life at SaveTimeHosting.com.
Want gold but also want to stay digital and decentralized on the Bitcoin blockchain? Anthem Vault, providing trusted, world-class vaulting, has your answer with Hayek Gold. Digital, spendable gold inspired by economist and free market philosopher F.A. Hayek. Each Hayek is worth 1 gram of gold and is available right now at AnthemVault.com. Sign up today at AnthemVault.com with promo code FREEDOM to earn 6 months of free storage and 5% off all margins for life. Hayek Gold at AnthemVault.com. Get yours today.
My name is Bill Bonner, and I'm the president of the largest private news and research network in the world. And I paid for this airtime because I have an important message to the American people. There's a change coming that the government isn't telling you about. This change has deep implications for life in America, from where you shop to the doctors you visit and the family you want to protect. Look, I've made predictions like this before. Thing is, I was right then too. A few years ago, I warned that housing prices would collapse. They did. Before that, I warned that .com companies would crash. They did. Those who listened had a chance to save themselves. But this has nothing to do with the stock market. This will affect us all.
You can watch the video for free right now by going to disappearingwealth.com. Again, that's disappearingwealth.com.
Thank you for listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Gordon Griffin. Police in East Selma, Alabama say a man suspected of shooting 3 people in church was likely upset over a recent breakup and visitation issues with his son. James Jr. Mentor is being held without bond in the wounding of his former girlfriend, his 1-month-old son, and the pastor. A new wildfire in Northern California has claimed 1 life in Monterey County. Officials say that the blaze, burning about 2 miles north of the community of Jamesburg, quickly grew to 1,200 acres after starting Saturday afternoon. CAL FIRE spokeswoman Lynette Round says after 4 years of drought, it's really important for Californians to prepare for the possibility of a fire near them.
It's really hard for people to think about getting prepared ahead of time, but with large wildfires like these, they just move so fast that you really don't have a lot of time to think, grab things, and go. You really just have to leave it a moment's notice.
The White House is allowing some controversial guests to attend the arrival ceremony for Pope Francis later this week.
Among those invited to attend are transgender activists, a gay Episcopal bishop, and an outspoken nun who wants changes to Catholic teachings on abortion and euthanasia. The Wall Street Journal reports that the Vatican has taken offense at the Obama administration's decision to invite these people. In response, White House spokesman Josh Earnest said there will be diversity among the estimated 15,000 guests, refusing to say if the president was trying to send a message. Greg Clugston, Washington.
A Nigerian military official says extremists have detonated 3 explosive devices in the capital of Borno State in the country's northeast. No word on casualties, no claim of responsibility either, but the Islamic extremist group Boko Haram is suspected. The CEO of Volkswagen says he is sorry while VW customers say they feel duped. The Environmental Protection Agency says the German automaker skirted clean air rules. More on these stories at townhall.com.
You know, I'm not a genius about money. I love my credit cards, and they love me. I was using them as a source of income, and then I got behind in my payments, and creditors were calling. I figured I had a problem, and I didn't know how to deal with it. I heard about Trinity, so I called and talked to a counselor. In half an hour, we worked out a plan. Now I've got one easy monthly payment, a lower interest rate, and I'm getting out of debt.
If you're in an endless cycle of paying on credit card balances that never seem to go away, then get ready for a toll-free number that will put you on a path to financial recovery. Trinity will consolidate your accounts, put a stop to late fees and over-limit charges, reduce your interest, and possibly improve your credit score. You'll save thousands. If your debt has you down, we should talk. Call 1-800-758-5360. That's 1-800-758-5360. Call 1-800-758-5360.
Republican presidential hopeful Ben Carson says that he doesn't believe that a Muslim should be elected president, but he says Congress is okay depending on the person's policies.
If there's somebody who's of any faith, but they say things and their life has been consistent with things that will elevate this nation and make it possible for everybody to succeed and bring peace and harmony, then I'm with them.
Dr. Carson appeared this morning on NBC's Meet the Press. Senator Chuck Schumer says the Drug Enforcement Agency should create a special investigation until the unit to target online sales of synthetic marijuana. The New York Democrat says that despite state bans on fake pot, dealers are able to sell it online to users as well as retailers. He says a special unit within the DEA could investigate these dealers. Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Gordon Griffin. Fiat Chrysler is recalling 27,520 Dodge Darts worldwide because the small car's transmissions can unexpectedly shift into neutral.
The recall affects Dodge Darts from the 2013 to 2015 model years with dual dry clutch transmissions. The company is not aware of any accidents or injuries caused by the defect. FCA says a mounting bracket can disrupt a circuit board in the transmission control module and shift the vehicle into neutral. The engine remains on and the airbags as well as other safety features aren't affected. The dashboard warning light may illuminate if the problem is present.
That's correspondent Jeremy House. Basketball great Moses Malone has been remembered not only for his rebounds and 3 MVP trophies, but for making people smile. At a funeral yesterday at Houston's Lakewood Church, he was lauded as a kind and helpful man. Malone died a week ago at the age of 60. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states. Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
Healthy, organic, fresh fish, robust, mouth-watering vegetables, all from your home. It's called aquaponics. This brilliant, self-sustaining protein and veggie system is perfect for year-round growing. Know exactly where your food is coming from. Aquaponicssource.com is the one-stop shop for all your needs. Fish, fish food, plumbing, full systems, classes, and more. Learn to build your own system. Go to aquaponicssource.com for a free guide to aquaponics. That's aquaponicssource.com.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live. Hour number 3, kicking it off right now, live Sunday edition. You can join us here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Of course, you can bring up anything that happens to be on your mind. We just got off the line with Chris Cantwell. Proof that he's not been censored or banned from Free Talk Live. For those of you who are maybe new to the show here tonight, he's a former co-host of ours as of Friday night, basically. There's been a bit of a controversy about some of the views that he has regarding differences between groups, specifically races, and from my perspective, I just don't see it as productive towards spreading the ideas of liberty to find out the truth in this area. And Chris is on this kind of journey of trying to discover truths in various different topics, and this is one of those topics that he's seeking truth on. And I think that he's, probably finding some truth on those issues. Maybe he's not. Mark, you said some of the studies are outdated or have been disproven about differences between IQ and race.
It seems to hinge on who writes these IQ tests.
It could very well be. But, to me, one of the goals of Free Talk Live is to spread the ideas of liberty as far and as wide as we possibly can. Now, it has to be an entertaining show, and it's actually unfortunate that Chris isn't on it as a co-host anymore because he's super entertaining, in my opinion. I think he's great on the radio.
I think he's one of the best co-hosts we've ever had.
Yeah, absolutely. Hands down. And so the entertainment aspect of the show keeps people listening, hopefully. That's the idea, at least. And so the longer they listen, the more they're going to hear the ideas of freedom, the more they're going to absorb and consider them and hopefully change their mind about, things where they think the government should do things versus not, and come on board with the ideas of freedom. Of course, the idea of liberty is that you should be free to live your life how you want, so long as you don't use aggressive violence or fraud against other human beings. And I want as many people to hear that message as possible because everybody is starting from a different standpoint. I mean, we're all those of us who've come to liberty have come from different places. Some have come from the right, some have come from the left, some have come from an apolitical stance, some have come from total ignorance about politics or whatever. And everybody who hears the messages that we're sharing on the air, they're hearing it from wherever it is they are in life. And if they're in a place in life where hearing someone talk about difference between race based on IQ or whatever could turn them off, like hearing that statement that Chris has made about Asians being on average a higher IQ than whites being a higher IQ than blacks, whether it's true or not.
Where's the innovation coming out of China?
There's a lot of innovation in China. I don't know
not compared to the United States.
Okay. I don't really
freedom
know.
Probably has a lot more than IQ to do with innovation.
China's been on the rise over the last few decades as far as production and manufacturing.
That's not innovation.
You have to innovate to be able to improve on production and manufacturing.
You don't really if you have cheap labor.
Facilities. The production quality.
I'm not saying they can't make factories, Ian, and I'm not saying they can't innovate. I'm saying that human freedom is more important than IQ as an indicator of how we're going to get from here to a better future.
So my point was that talking about those differences, you can do all the research and digging and try to find the truth about those differences between groups that you want. That's fine. That's cool, man.
But it's kind of like 9/11 research. You're going to end up picking a rabbit hole and picking a tunnel down the rabbit hole, and you're going to follow it. And there are other tunnels out there. There are Afrocentrist writers that'll tell you that blacks invented everything in America, and it's the whites that took all the credit for it. That's bull crap, right?
Okay.
And, if you want to follow that rabbit hole, you can follow it. And somebody's written enough that you can spend the rest of your life reading information on that.
Trying
and finding
to uncover
stuff
the truth
right.
about that.
There's no truth about some of this stuff.
Yeah, well, and that's why I say, to me, it's irrelevant, and it is, in fact, counterproductive to be spending time on the air discussing those matters as a co-host on Free Talk Live. And Chris is welcome here to talk about anything he wants as a caller, and he just called in. We actually spent 2 segments with him, so clearly there's no censorship going on here. I'm more than happy to discuss these issues, but, when I don't think something matters, I'm going to say that I don't think that it matters, because I want people to understand the ideas of liberty no matter where they come from, no matter what their skin color, no matter what their size or shape or form or all that stuff. That's all I got to say about that. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. If you want to join us, Carlos is in Florida. You're on Free Talk Live. Carlos.
Good evening, gentlemen. Christopher Cantwell, big disappointment. You got rid of him. He's the best co-host on the show, no doubt. It goes well with you, Ian. Murder Mark, I don't even know what he brings to the table. You talk about inclusion. I mean, you killed somebody or involved with a murder, so...
No, he didn't. He didn't kill anybody.
Way more offensive than,
I think that's a pretty low blow. You don't really know much about what happened, and I understand you're angry, but it seems like you're just lashing out in the only way that you can come up with.
I mean, you were convicted. Chris Cantwell just made some comments. So, and you know what? Let's talk about...
We've all been convicted of different things. So what? Chris Cantwell's been to jail. I've been to jail. Mark's been to prison. What's the big deal?
Well, we're talking about murder, but anyway...
Mark didn't commit any murder. He didn't kill anybody.
Okay, well, let's just talk about fact-checking. You guys talk so much just out of you-know-what, and never even... I look at Mark. I'm looking at the studio cam. You never fact-check. He has the computer right in front of him. Cantwell, at least the other night when you were talking about Uber, he looks up on his phone and says, "Oh, what? This is actually how it goes." You sell...
Mark fact-checks all the time. He's sitting on his computer right now.
Well, you talk so much stuff and you never have very good arguments about some of the facts you talk about.
All right. Thanks for your opinion, Carlos. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. I think, Mark, you're more well-researched than I am. You are usually in the loop as far as like the news of the day, what's going on, especially with international conflicts, the Middle East. You really follow that stuff really well.
I got a tab open here talking about sexism. I got a tab open here talking about racial controversies and IQ, and I've got a tab open about Rand Paul, and his debate and that sort of thing. So whatever, I'm fact-checking as best I can.
Yeah, you bring a lot to the show. You bring a dedication. You're here 6 nights a week.
He just sounds upset, and I understand people are upset.
There's a lot of butthurt over Chris being.
I don't know why you want to say
butthurt.
Butthurt's a mean thing to say.
Well, these people are being pretty mean.
They're disappointed.
Yeah,
he got his chance to. He got to throw all the poo he wanted to throw.
Yeah,
I'm not going to throw it back.
Yeah, good point. All right, let's go to Tom in Maryland. You're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Mark. Hello, Tom.
Good evening, gentlemen. I missed a couple days. Boy, it sounds like I missed a lot. I'm glad I caught what I did tonight, though. Listen, you're running a professional radio show. You have advertisers. You have a nationwide audience, if not multi-nation. I understand what you did, especially after hearing him talk tonight. The underlying implications when he was talking about the ability to grasp alternate societal framework setups. Those weren't his exact words, of course, but that was extremely inflammatory.
That's what Chris is good at. He's great at being inflammatory, and I appreciate him for that. We need that in this world.
It wasn't factual, and that was part of the problem. If you want to talk about the bell curve and differences in IQ, that's one thing, but you got to have some place to go with it that actually adds substance to a conversation that can get you somewhere. Of course, you have to handle these things extremely carefully. The kid gloves are incendiary. And relative to just throwing at the bell curve and IQ scores, if you don't have someplace really substantive to go with that, it's really not worth even bringing up. I mean, you really have to know your facts. And I'll tell you, more importantly,
there are more important issues. I know you've got to continue, so stand by. We'll bring you back here, Tom. And that's why I feel, there are a lot more important things for us to be talking about. A lot, if you want to search for truth, there are other areas in which you can search for truth. I mean, there's a zillion truths out there, and some are probably more important than others, at least to me. 855-450-FREE.
What do you know?
855-450-3733. I don't know that much. I'm just a person. Free Talk Live.
If you own a business, you know incorporating can be a smart way to protect yourself and your assets. So the question is, why haven't you incorporated your business yet?
My business? It's too small.
Wrong. No matter how small your business, you run the risk of losing all your personal assets, your car, your home, even your entire life savings if you're not incorporated.
Incorporating is very complicated.
Actually, incorporating is easy and fast. You can do it in just 10 minutes. Call now for your free guide from Incorporate.com. 1-800-945-8645.
I need a lawyer to incorporate. That's really expensive.
You don't need a lawyer, and we don't offer legal or financial advice. Incorporate.com is a service company whose only mission is helping people like you incorporate safely, easily, and quickly. Find out how simple it is to protect your family and personal assets by incorporating. Call now for your free guide. 1-800-945-8645. 1-800-945-8645. That's 1-800-945-8645.
Did you know that drinking pure, high-alkaline water is one of the most important factors in maintaining high energy and vibrant health? Most experts agree that the water you drink should be at a pH level of 8 or higher. AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops, available only at alkavision.com, combine a unique formula of only the most alkaline minerals. AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops alkalize your water, ridding the body of harmful toxins, and helps you regain health and energy. Alkalizing your water by simply adding 10 drops of AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops helps the body rid itself of acidic waste, increases oxygen content, and raises the pH of your body to healthy levels. And bacteria and viruses cannot survive in an alkaline high pH environment. Order your bottle of AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops for only $29.95 at alkavision.com. That's ALKAvision.com. Or call 269-409-1776. 269-409-1776. Alkalize your body. Supercharge your health at alkavision.com today.
A revolution in body protection has arrived only at FortressSurvivalLLC.com. Introducing the revolutionary patented Level 3 Bulletproof Vest. 100% Kevlar, 100% American-made. Concealable, fully adjustable, and the lowest price on the market. Adult size normally $289.99, now just $250. Kid size normally $239.99, now just $200. Get affordable protection with a Level 3A Bulletproof Vest from FortressSurvivalLLC.com. For thou art my rock and my fortress. Psalm 31:3.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-905-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. Say goodbye to the cable guy and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. Sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows, pause and rewind live TV, even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV. Say goodbye to the cable guy. Cut costs and get more. 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV.
Okay, open your mouth and say ah.
Ah. When your child has a sore throat, you need to know when to get help. The doctor-recommended Say Ah Sore Throat Exam is your solution. The scientifically designed oral retractor offers a clear view of the throat, relaxing the tongue and minimizing gag reflex. Compare with the medical-grade chart, website, and app. Then you'll know just what to tell your doctor. A wellness plan in your hands in minutes. Go to SayAHHnow.com. SayAhNow.com, the new mainstay for every family's first aid kit.
Now, more Free Talk Live. Call in toll-free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-FREE.
We our Free Talk Live. You can join the show. The toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. The we tonight in the studio includes me, Ian.
And me, Mark.
And you are invited also to join us via Skype at Skype username lrn.fm. Free Talk Live brought to you by Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. It just celebrated its third anniversary of the theatrical release of this hour-and-a-half-long feature-length documentary film about our friend Derek J. Freeman and his 5 arrests for civil disobedience and non-cooperation type stuff here in Keene, New Hampshire. It's very entertaining. You can watch it free. Just go to victimlesscrimespree.com. As we go back to Tom in Maryland. Tom, you were driving at some sort of point, but those pesky brakes got in the way. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I'll wrap it up quick. I was simply going to say that I think in certain instances that group dynamics and group think and behavior are important things to be aware of and to address. For example, if your life is on the line and you're facing a jury, you might want to know what a specific makeup is of a jury and how they may behave together if they weren't law-eared properly by your attorney, if you even have an attorney. That's someone who's on the private bill rather than a public defender. I think group behavior as far as large groups, mobs. You've heard of mob mentality. I think that's important to study and be aware of.
Yeah.
I think when we're talking about liberty, and I'll end with this, I think it's a worthwhile issue to look at forced integration. Not that it's a bad thing. In fact, it might be a wonderful thing, but the forcing of it, I think, got us off to a bad start. I think if we were able as a nation to integrate naturally, and I think we would have in most cases. I think you're going to have certain areas that wouldn't have, but I think the forcing of it, I think for a lot of people, it got them off to a bad start, and I think those things are worthwhile talking about.
No, I agree. When you use force, you have unintended consequences, and if you force people together who don't want to be together, they're just going to resent it, and that resentment is going to manifest in unpleasant ways.
What we're finding now is that minorities are often fracturing out and wanting to have exclusivity, organizations that are exclusively of their particular type of minority because they're not being served with integration. So I don't know.
And then you add on, a common history that is negative. That only adds fuel to the fire of not having a good adhesion as far as society coming together. And I think these are things that people, would want to think about and try to understand better what's going on. I mean, obviously, that there are differences. And I said I'd wrap it up, and I'll leave you with this. In my former profession, when it came to very important decisions about identifying a suspect in a serious crime, or any crime for that matter, it was not an issue for a black officer to come to me and say, you know what, we both saw this. Do I have the right guy here? Because there's something about, and we all recognize this, there's something about identifying someone of your own race.
Yeah, it's true.
For the person of the same race. And I would also call a black officer and say, we both saw this, but you make the final determination on the ID. And none of us had a problem with it, but I know in general society, if that were to even be broached as a topic, it would raise eyebrows. People would say, well, what do you mean? One can't tell the difference. And it goes back to the old ridiculous joke about, what you can't tell one from the other. But that's not the case at all. Like I said, these are very important issues that you want to be and need to be absolutely certain about. And if you can get a better look at a situation and make a better ID, you're going to do everything that you can and throw out all the politically correct nonsense. But again, anytime you approach these subjects, I think you have to handle them extremely carefully with a lot of facts and with kid gloves.
Thanks, Tom. I appreciate your comments. Thanks for the call.
Yeah, they've done tests and trying to sort of guess ages cross-racially versus intraracially.
Mm-hmm.
And intraracially, people are much better at guessing ages of others than they are cross-racially.
Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that it's wrong to, it's not wrong to look at differences between groups, to investigate that on your own time. It's just not what I want to do with Free Talk Live. It's not productive towards spreading the ideas of liberty, in my opinion.
I feel it's threatening to some extent.
What is threatening?
If we start looking at particular shortfalls of different groups and say, it makes it too easy for people to say, oh, well, that person over there is dumb if they, the particular ethnic group they're from scores lower on IQ tests. It makes it too easy for people to do that. I'm not saying that's the case, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think
it encourages thinking about people in groups as opposed to in the individual, which is why I always like to point out it's individuals that matter most. You can make all the observations about the groups you want. And there's no doubt. It is true. Women in general are not as physically strong, upper body strength-wise, as males. That's a true thing. But that doesn't mean that individual women can't be stronger than men.
Do you think that's a prejudice, a stereotype, or discrimination?
Are you asking? I don't understand.
That women are a weaker upper body strength than men are.
It's just a nature of the
I'd call
build
it
of the
prejudgment. You're prejudging women based on that.
Nature of the beast. But that's just what I'm saying.
Sexism.
I don't think you should prejudge. I don't think you should prejudge based on that. I don't think you should look at somebody and come to conclusions about them until they've had a chance to pass a test or have opened their mouth and have said the things that they believe or whatever. Let's go to Doug. He's in South Carolina. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Doug.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Welcome.
Let me preface my comment real fast and give you an analogy. I'm a religious guy, and I'm also a voluntarist. So I don't want a theocracy, of course. Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
But a few years ago, I'm reminded of a story about a church that one half of the church split off from the original church and started a new church across the street from the original church.
Okay.
Because they had done their research and felt that God was going to come back on the other side of the street. And
God likes this side of the street.
This sounds like an apocryphal story. Go ahead.
So, I mean, I, as a religious person, found that to be nuts. And I can't get involved in all that. That, to me, is extraneous. It's not conducive to having serious conversations with people and talk to them about those relevant topics and things having to do with religion. And it's the same thing for me with this. I don't feel that saying things to people that make them look at you like you're nuts or inflammatory statements, I don't think those are good for the movement. If you want to find those things out for yourself and discover things to make yourself happy and feel more in tune with the world, that's great. That's awesome. But if you're trying to win hearts and change minds, I don't think we need to be throwing things out there.
I agree. And it's not like we don't say enough that makes us sound nuts to people, right? I mean, we're here advocating the abolishment of the state entirely. Thanks, Doug, for your call and thoughts tonight. So, we go out on enough limbs on Free Talk Live. The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. And one thing's for sure, the government screws over as many people as they can, and they don't care what your skin color is. It's Free Talk Live.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX or my website, danpilla.com.
No way. Is that a real bullet necklace?
No, it's a 9mm bullet necklace with matching earrings, you'll notice.
Those are awesome. Where'd you get them?
Dave found them at patriotnecklace.com.
Wow.
They have a variety of calibers and necklaces and earrings and keychains.
Patriotnecklace.com?
Patriotnecklace.com.
Your choice of caliber bullet includes a rugged American-made stainless steel dog tag chain. A percentage of every sale goes to military and service-related charities. And get a discount by entering GCN at checkout. Show your patriotism and support our troops with a bullet necklace from patriotnecklace.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Why do over 50% of North Americans suffer from some form of chronic ailment? Could it be due to a toxic overload? It's time to take back your life. Get the lead out as well as the cadmium, mercury, and calcium. Extendivite is a garlic cayenne supplement with 5 other herbs that acts like a natural Drano, cleaning out the stored toxins, restoring your energy and youthfulness that we've lost. If you would like to live your life free of sickness, pain, or fear, then Extendivite is for you. Available in either capsules or liquid, you too can see why Extendivite is the #1 heart drop available. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822, or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
KDArmor.com is your one-stop shop for the most affordable body armor, period. With packages starting at $169.99 and free shipping on every order. Why would you go anywhere else? KD offers soft armor and rifle threat rated armor up to level 4. Go to KDArmor.com and get your body armor today while you still can. Mention this ad and receive a free water purification kit for a limited time with any body armor package. Go to KDArmor.com. That's CATI armor.com. Come and take it.
Leave it alone. It'll come back around. Does that sound familiar? Most financial professionals are telling their clients that very thing. Don't panic. The stock market goes up. The stock market goes down. The real question you should be asking your financial professional is, do I have an exit strategy so I don't see a repeat of 2008? Look, friends, right now there are rumors circulating by many economists and self-proclaimed financial gurus that something significant could happen in September. I feel it's incumbent to warn you and help you at the same time. My friends at the Wealth Preservation Institute have a free report on how you can have an exit strategy. It's called How to Survive the Upcoming Economic Collapse and Protect Your Savings, Retirement, 401ks, IRAs, and Income. Don't hesitate. Don't wait for another 2008. Call right now, 888-772-2929. That's 888-772-2929 for that free report, How to Survive an Upcoming Economic Collapse.
We use mobile devices right against our bodies every day, but growing scientific evidence has emerged showing serious health risks associated with exposure to EMF radiation emitted from these devices. The solution is Defender Shield, the most effective mobile radiation shielding ever developed. Defender Shield blocks virtually 100% of EMF radiation from cell phones, tablets, and laptops, and starts at just $64.99. Buy now at DefenderShield.com. For 10% off, use promo code GCN. DefenderShield.com, the worldwide leader in mobile radiation shielding.
This is Free Talk Live. Call in toll free, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-FREE.
It's Free Talk Live, live Sunday edition. We're here. You can join us, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. With you tonight, you've got Ian.
And Mark.
We've got a website. You can go to freetalklive.com. You can get interactive there with other Free Talk Live listeners. You get to create the content on the front page of the site. You get to download archives that go back for years, all the way back to 2006, uninterrupted. Just grab them up, as many as you like, over at freetalklive.com. You can even watch the show. We've got a webcam at cam.freetalklive.com. And so if you're into that, you can do that. There's also a chat room built right into the cam page. You can talk with other listeners at the same time. It is a multimedia experience over there at freetalklive.com. And unlike those other talk show sites, ours is free. So enjoy. Let's go to Liberty Phoenix. He is on the line via Skype in Illinois, I believe. Phoenix, go ahead.
Evening, gentlemen. The next time somebody calls somebody a racist, I'm going to just call them.
Hey, do me a favor. I'm sorry to interrupt you. You're a little distorted. Can you back off your mic maybe like 2 inches? Sounds like you're swallowing the mic. Yeah, that's better. Go ahead.
So the next time somebody calls someone a racist, I'm going to call them a unicorn because it's about as apt. There's only one race of humans on this earth. You can't be a racist. It's a stupid, it's an incendiary word. It's inflammatory. Racism doesn't exist. Prejudice exists. Cultures exist. Racism can't exist. There's only one race.
The human race.
Exactly. I mean, and you guys keep utilizing these words like, oh, this is racist or that's racist. And you guys are better than that. You guys are much more intelligent than that. You have a far better grasp of logic than to stoop to those pathetic levels. I mean, racism is a bait word. It doesn't do anything. Prejudice exists, absolutely, and it's not acceptable.
Well,
at least not for me. I don't want to associate with individuals that are prejudiced, but it's not inherently immoral either.
Some people will substitute the term ethnicity for race. Is that what you're proposing here?
I guess I could accept different ethnicities. Yeah, those things do exist. Because it's all, as far as I'm concerned, it's just cultural differences. Whether or not someone's skin color is different has absolutely nothing to do with what their culture is going to be either.
It doesn't necessarily indicate that, but I mean, to some extent, you're going to find perhaps more white people that like foie gras than you're going to find, say, Asians or Black Americans or whatever. So I mean, there's
and that has everything to do with culture, not their skin color.
Right. Yeah, I was just talking about culture. Yeah, I was talking about culture. So you were saying it was only a cultural difference. I don't know. I'm not willing to go ahead and just dismiss out of hand the existence of race, because people can see it plainly in front of them. Whether or not it's entirely true, scientists will tell us it's a social construct. But I mean, two black people get together, they have a black baby, right? I mean, so there's something to the genetics of it.
Well, but I understand where Liberty Phoenix is coming from here. I like the idea that we're all just one race. In fact, Mark, when I think, was it your voting registration or something? You filled something out where you had to check off race, and you put...
I don't claim to have a race because I'm sick of the conversation.
Yeah, right. I mean,
Then why do you guys still use the terms? Because both of you guys use the terms tonight, and you're both saying that you don't support the idea of racism, but you guys both still use the dang terms.
Well, how am I going to have a conversation about people claiming that black people are genetically inferior in the areas of intellect without saying the word race?
Ethnicity, I suppose, would be a more apropos word.
All right.
But even then, I feel like we've gone around this before. It just seems like it divides people so much more unnecessarily.
It's a loaded word.
There's no doubt about that, which is why I don't want to spend time generally on the radio discussing it. Of course, it's an open phone show, and when it comes up, we're not going to shy away from it. But I understand where you're coming from, and if the context of the conversation is using the term race, then maybe we can do a better job at trying to come at it from your perspective, because I do agree with what you're saying. Ultimately, we're all just human beings, and I think that's why that's why rejecting the idea of spending time investigating differences between races or ethnicities or whatever is important. I don't want to spend my time on that, because there are so many more important issues about the human race being oppressed by the people in the government class.
I would definitely agree with that. It's not the best topic if we want to spread liberty and the ideas of freedom, but it's just something that I always nitpick on.
Thanks for the nitpick. I appreciate it. Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE, or you can call us on Skype like Liberty Phoenix did. Our Skype username is LRN.FM. Craig is with us in Kentucky. Craig, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Mark.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, so just following up on the whole Cantwell controversy, Ian seems willing to admit that Cantwell might possibly be right about IQ trends among the races. However, he doesn't think it's conducive to spreading the message of liberty because it may, understandably so, turn some away. My question then is, how can you ever critique Republicans and Democrats without fear of repelling Democrats and Republicans who might have eventually been receptive to the message of liberty?
I think many, when you're talking, like, for instance, if I say, I generally don't like people because people are stupid, most people will agree with that statement. They'll be like, yeah, I agree with you. Most people are stupid, because 90% of people assume that they are above average intelligence. This is some number some study somewhere said that 90% of people were above average and believe they were above average intelligence, which is a sort of a functionally impossible statement. And I don't think people actually consider themselves generally to be sort of Democrats or Republicans. And even if they do, they can, to some extent look at their party and realize change is possible. However, when you're talking about somebody's genetics as opposed to their choices as far as political parties goes, you're talking about something they can't change.
Also, I'll add that most people, according to the Talkers survey that they do, Talkers Magazine, big industry publication, they do the talk radio research survey every year, and they found that over 60% of talk radio listeners are not Democrats or Republicans. So by trashing on the Republicans and Democrats, we're actually marketing to the majority of the talk radio audience in that way.
Yeah, but you're still turning a lot of people that are committed to the Republican Party or the Democratic Party before they fully hear the message of liberty. Who knows how many you're turning away just by pointing out harsh truths about.
Yeah, but are they turning off the show?
If they're partisans, they're not going to turn away. I mean, they're never going to change their minds.
They may be partisans before they hear the message of liberty, but then once they hear your eloquent articulation of it, maybe they can be won over. But you'll never know that if you point out harsh truths about each party, because then you will turn them away before they get that chance.
Here's what I can say about my eloquence. My eloquence will never turn a black man white or a white man black.
You guys are very well spoken.
Here's what I have to say about my eloquence. A white man will never turn black because of it, and a black man will never turn white because of it. And there's a difference.
All Cantwell is doing is talking about trends. He's not talking about individuals. So just because an individual can't change his DNA, it doesn't mean that individual is a slave to the trend of his ethnicity.
That's true. And I wish Cantwell would have said that when I wanted him to say something that did not sound racist, because I don't believe he is a racist, but he was not willing to say that, and he was willing to fall on his sword, and that's fine.
I think as an intelligent person, he should be given the benefit of the doubt. He's not that stupid. No,
brother, I gave him the benefit of the doubt.
He had every opportunity. He quit, dude.
Well, I mean, he quit at the same time as I was going to remove him from the show.
Would a smart person say that each individual is a slave to the trends of anything? That's why they're
Of course they are. You are the slave to your genetics.
Of words.
I'm going to go ahead and say it. You're the slave to your genetics. You cannot change one dot or tittle of your DNA.
You're not a slave to the trends of your ethnicity, though.
I agree with that.
Absolutely, but it's but your genetics themselves can't be changed.
Chris said on the air tonight what I would have liked to have had him say when I asked him to say something that didn't sound racist before I had to, we had to let him go, and he kind of left the show at the same time. He said it tonight, but it's too little too late. Hey, thanks for the call, Craig. I appreciate it, and I see where you're coming from. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. It's Free Talk Live.
Now is the time to save on hardwood and more at Lumber Liquidators' end of summer clearance sale. We're making room for new fall inventory. That means it's your chance to get an incredible deal on solid pre-finished hardwood for just 99 cents. Wide plank, hand-scraped oak for $1.99. Beautiful carbonized bamboo for $1.29. Plus, get 10 to 15% off Morningstar Bamboo, the #1 selling brand of bamboo flooring. Top quality laminate and vinyl plank from 49 cents and 24-month special financing. Hurry, the end of summer clearance sale is going on now. Visit lumberliquidators.com to find a store near you.
Before girls' night out, my eczema flared up. Ugh, I felt like canceling. But then I tried Cortisone 10 Eczema Relief. It's specially formulated for eczema and has 1% hydrocortisone, the strongest non-prescription itch medicine for fast, lasting itch relief. It quickly stopped the itch and soothed my red, dry, flaky skin. With Cortisone 10 Eczema Relief, I was ready for girls' night out, and it was the best one ever.
Cortisone 10 Eczema Relief. Feel the heal. Use as directed.
Silver has always been nature's very own antibiotic, and only one system allows you to produce an endless supply of nano-sized silver solutions right from the convenience of your home. Silver Lungs. With the addition of our unique lung delivery system, respiratory infections are targeted directly, where traditional oral administration simply cannot reach. This pioneering method also preserves the original particle sizes and delivers your silver solution directly into the bloodstream. See the Silver Lungs generator and lung delivery system at silverlungs.com. That's silverlungs.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
So I found out the other day that at guns80.com, a lot of people don't get the Ghost AR-15 rifle kits because they're afraid that they won't be able to do the machining work required to drill out and make ready the lower. Well, listen, guys, gals, I am not that good of a machinist, I promise you. But I was able to take a drill press with an XY table and knock this out in about 45 minutes, and in all honesty, mine looks really good. Go get yours. Don't be afraid. It's easy. Guns80.com. Go to guns80.com now.
For over 5 years, you've been hearing about the Berkey guy, so you may know a few things about him. For example, you are well aware of the superior quality and effectiveness of Berkey water filters and accessories. But did you know the Berkeys have had independent lab tests done to prove just how effective they are? It's true, and he can email you the test results. Just visit goberkey.com. You may also know that the Berkey guy has helped tens of thousands of people get better prepared. Now here's something you may not know. GoBerkey.com has amazing specials and deals all the time on a wide variety of survival and preparedness products, most ready to ship same day. Visit the Berkey Guy at goberkey.com and be sure to click the red Products on Sale Now button. You can always call toll-free 877-886-3653. Again, that's 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com, home of the Berkey Guy.
Owe $10,000 or more to the IRS? Get on board with the Tax Admiral. Don't take on the IRS alone. I'll cut penalties and reduce your overall tax bill. Sometimes I can even get it zeroed out completely. We're an A-rated company helping people clean up their mess with the IRS. If you owe $10,000 or more, then call the Tax Admiral.
Call 800-287-7180. Again, that's 800-287-7180. 800-287-7180.
You're listening to Free Talk Live. Call in toll free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-FREE.
It's Free Talk Live. You can join us here toll free, 855-450-FREE. The live Sunday edition with you tonight. You've got Ian
and Mark.
And you can join us online at freetalklive.com. Please enjoy the features there. If you like what we're doing here on Free Talk Live, please help amp the show. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. The idea is let's get Free Talk Live onto more radio stations all around the country. People listening around the globe on the internet via satellite radio. We can do that with your $5 per month. You'll get access to the AMP-only Facebook group, which, by the way, is where you can see all the dust-up and the controversy about the Chris Cantwell situation. It's all still there if you wanted to see what that was. It's there. And so the AMP group, that was a lot of fun generally because it's the amplifiers interacting with one another and other hosts of the show. And that's one of the perks that you'll get. There are others as a Free Talk Live amplifier, but the big deal is that $5 a month makes a big difference for us. So please, if you like what we're doing here on Free Talk Live, go to amp.freetalklive.com, ampamp.freetalklive.com. So we go back to the phones, to the fun. Bruce, listening in Asheville to WWNC. Hello, Bruce.
Hello, guys. Yeah, let me see. Now that you guys said you were both in jail, I can really call you brothers. And, no, listen to your show. I agree with you 50% of the time.
All right.
50% of the time I don't. And that's what freedom's all about. That's why your station is so good. I mean, you don't pick on one thing. Like, you don't talk about Trump for an hour.
Oh,
or you
God.
don't talk about well, I like Trump. But anyway, you know, that's what's so great about Free Talk Live. And that's why I'm a listener, because you're talking about freedom. It's freedom to say what you want. And, you know, you guys, sometimes you have a lot of patience with some of these guys on the phone. probably me too. But I just want to let you know I enjoy your show. I enjoy your commercials. I think they're really great.
Excellent.
Sometimes I want to move up there with you. The other times I want to move to Bulgaria. But,
well, as long as you're listening, that's what's important. You don't have to agree with us, and I really appreciate you being out there, Bruce. Thanks for sharing your thoughts here tonight. And it kind of comes back around to something else I wanted to say about the last caller prior to Bruce, who had brought up the issue, well, you guys are offending, you could offend Republicans and Democrats. And you made the point, Mark, that, well, you can change your political party, but you can't change the color of your skin or whatever. Michael Jackson accepted that in regard to the idea of offending Republicans and Democrats, I pointed out that majority of the talk radio audience are actually not Republicans and Democrats. But besides that, when you're doing talk radio, conflict is important, right? And so we're going to talk about things that people inevitably disagree with. We want to talk to people with whom we disagree. It's more interesting to have that than, call after call of people saying how great we are. That would drive me insane to have. I mean, it was a nice call. Thank you for the call.
Yeah,
but
we get them rarely.
But it would drive. I wouldn't. If I
ask people not to.
I would hate it. I would hate it if people called and just were constantly, telling us about how great we are. Because I want to have conversations. We can understand more about our world by having disagreements and trying to root out whatever is important from those things. But picking on these politicians, picking on the government in general, yeah, that's going to offend people, and that's okay. I don't mind offending people. That's part and parcel of doing this job. As long as people keep listening, that's what's important. If they listen long enough, that message of liberty is pretty persuasive. And maybe the first night they listen, they're offended, but maybe few weeks later, there's some ideas that they agree with that they hear us talking about. And then they realize that we don't disagree on everything. And then maybe they'll understand how we're coming to the conclusions that we've come to about the ideas of liberty. And maybe they'll come on board. Eventually, sometimes that happens. We've had people call and tell us that, at first I thought you guys were crazy, but then I listened longer, and it started to make sense. And then I joined the Free State Project. Yeah, and then I joined the Free State Project, or I joined the Amplifier program. And so those things can happen over time. But if you offend somebody by saying something about their race or their ethnicity that may be true, then they might not really want to listen to anything else that you say. They might hit the off button at that point. And so I want people to not necessarily, it's not that I don't want people to be offended. That's going to happen. It's just that there's some things that, you don't need to offend people about. There's certain lines that don't need to be crossed in order to have an entertaining but yet also offensive radio show.
Yeah, if you're going to offend people, let's have a point to it.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go to That Guy calling from somewhere. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello there.
So, ministers, you hammered me pretty good yesterday about racism and the definition of racist, even though I brought up neither. But am I to properly infer that your friend and former co-host is racist, and that's why you hammered me?
No, I don't think that he's racist.
Really? Then what was your point?
I don't know what you're even talking about at this point.
At this point, there's listeners all over America that have no clue what you're talking about. Can you reset?
This is why you're one of the worst callers on talk radio,
First
James,
of all, you
in
have
Arizona.
Really?
Yeah, because you keep calling about stuff that happened in the past that nobody was listening to, or not as many people were listening to.
It was 24 hours ago, and most of your
Yes, but we have different radio stations on tonight, and not everybody listens every single night to the show. So why don't you talk about something?
For the benefit of the audience, I called into your show to defend Christopher Cantwell, the POS that he is, against charges of racism, and how laughable it is that you would so easily infer that he is from the things that he said. I actually, again,
I didn't actually, so you're wrong about that. Thanks for the call. Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. I did not infer that he was a racist. I specifically said in my statement that I don't believe that he's a racist, that I'm not going to say that he is a racist. I don't want to believe that about Chris, and he made it clear tonight that individuals do matter. And I wish he would have said that 48 hours ago. But what can you do?
Yeah, so for those that listen via podcast or through the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, Free Talk Live is on dozens of radio stations across the country. Any given night. 150 total. But any given night, we're on dozens of radio stations. They're not always the same radio stations every night. And so if you get to hear all 3 hours of the show, you are blessed to have that kind of time. Other people, we're a radio program, and they turn on the car, they turn off the car, they hear the show in those amounts of time. So you really have to kind of the call has to be about something that's complete in and of itself.
That's true. Let's go to Mark, listening in Ohio.
Plus, I have a bad memory, and I just don't remember what happens yesterday.
Yeah, there's that too. Mark, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian and another Mark.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Welcome, sir.
I was just calling to mention, for one, that Cantwell just seems like he reaches many of his conclusions because he's a contrarian. And I more or less do the same thing. I mean, I'm basically contrarian myself, but it also seems like sometimes that he gets really upset and sort of what am I trying to say? Like, he gets really like he's surprised that people are offended by his Britishness.
Oh, I don't think he's surprised by that at all.
I mean, maybe not surprised, but it seems like he gets very defensive, and it's this sort of weird thing. Like, it's his expectation that he wants to. I think he wants to offend people, and he wants to provoke people.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then at the same time, it's like you can't have it both ways,
Yeah,
you can't expect to.
I think it makes him sad that it upsets him that he isn't able to convert everybody that hears his message, and that's frustrating for him. And I can tell you, having done this show for a long time, people just aren't going to believe in a lot of the things that you say. So I hear it in his voice.
Chris.
I hear it in his voice.
Okay, I've never gotten it. I mean, how could you think that you're going to convince everybody?
We're not talking about rational thought. We're talking about emotional thought here. That's I know you're bad at that.
Okay.
Yeah, it seems to me that as many callers have mentioned before, and I think it's true that if that's Cantwell's, if that's what he wants to do, that's fine. But he has to expect that. He has to sort of expect that people are going to get upset by that, and they're going to react in certain ways that he's not going to appreciate, and that's just.
That's not the Cantwell I know. I think Cantwell totally understands people are going to react to what he says, and that he's not going to persuade everyone, and I don't think he wants to persuade everybody. Thanks, Mark, for your thoughts here tonight. I just don't see that at all being the case. Cantwell seems entirely rational to me. I mean, as far as, he's a very logical guy.
Irrational. I'm saying everybody has emotions.
There's no doubt about that. I'm not saying
Cantwell has them.
I'm not saying he doesn't have emotions. I know that he does, as a matter of fact. He's a very human person, and there are a lot of people who don't think that he is, that he's this awful, awful guy. And, I've seen the real Cantwell. I know it. I know what it's all about. Well, not all of it, but I've seen enough to know that he's a human being, and he cares about others. We are out of time for tonight, but we'll be back tomorrow, and you can join us online in the meantime at freetalklive.com. Don't forget, you can still get tickets for Keenvention. You go to keenvention.info. It's October 30th through November 1st. You can learn more about it there. See you tomorrow. Free Talk Live.
BlakeDevelopment.net is a global leader in website creation, app development, and online marketing, catering to businesses of all sizes. There's really no job too big or too small for BlakeDevelopment.net. Do you have an idea for a killer app, but you don't know how to code it? Are you missing out on online sales? Or maybe your business needs help with social media? Websites start at just $200, and they're offering 3 years of free domain registry. Yes, they take Bitcoin. 844-SITE-123. BlakeDevelopment.net, 844-SITE-123.
If you expect secure, privacy-oriented services and real human support from your web hosting provider, choose Virtual Space International. From domain names and SSL certificates to offshore banking accounts, Virtual Space International has been the all-in-one, multi-language solution for